There's something fitting about a Friday night and the bright lights when it comes to high school championships. It's time to crown a 3A champion in North Carolina. With that, we welcome you to Kenan Stadium. We welcome you inside one of the great venues in the entire state, and alongside one of the great players in the history of this program, Eric Gash, Jason Patterson here. And Eric, that really is the story, a battle of unbeatens, two high-flying offenses to settle the crown.
Yeah, clash of the Titans, JP. I tell you something, I've always said, anytime you're still playing football and they're playing Christmas music on the radio, you had a pretty good season. And so we're really looking forward to this matchup today.
This is so much more than football. When it gets to this stage, it's about communities and lifetime memories. For a little more on this matchup, let's check in field side with Evan. Thanks, Evan. All right, Eric, time to turn our attention to the Ingles food for thought. That's our keys to the game. What does it come down to in this 3A title bout?
Well, I'll tell you something, JP. For Hickory, it's going to mean controlling the clock, right, as well as controlling the line of scrimmage. And they're going to have a splash play on special teams. They're going to have to get that done. And then you have for 71st, they're going to have to limit the offensive possessions of Hickory, no turnovers, and be sound on special teams.
State championship contest, so often about the playmakers. Let's zero in on an individual or two that you'll be keeping an eye on in this one, Eric. Who are our players to watch?
All right, so we're looking at for Hickory. Got to start with number 10, Brady Stover. This young man has accounted for over 3,700 yards through the air, and you have to get him going early. He's going to have to push the ball down the field, but more importantly, take care of the football. This young man, this offense begins and ends with him.
And on the other side?
All right, we have quarterback number 11, DeAndre Nance. This young man has over 3,000 total yards, I should say, 1,500 passing, about 1,500 rushing. He accounts for about 15 points every single game, 18 touchdowns. It starts and ends with him, and the coach has nothing but high praise for him, says he never gets rattled. He's a point guard in basketball, and everything starts and ends with this young man.
Just about time for state championship football. Out of the East, the 71st Falcons at 15-0. Identical unbeaten record for the Hickory Red Tornadoes out of the West. They collide on the other side of the break.
Is going to mean controlling the clock, right, as well as controlling the line of scrimmage, and they're going to have a splash play on special teams. They're going to have to get that done. And then you have for 71st, they're going to have to limit the offensive possessions of Hickory, no turnovers, and be sound on special teams.
With Evan. Thanks, Evan. All right, Eric. Time on this again. With Evan. Thanks, Evan. All right.
Players and enjoy this special day. Guys, back to you. 71st returns to a state final for its 5th time in pro.
Thanks, Evan. All right, Eric. Time to turn our attention to the Ingle. There's something fitting about a Friday night and the bright lights when it comes to high school championships. It's time to crown a 3A champion in North Carolina. With that, we welcome you to Kenan Stadium. We welcome you inside one of the great venues in the entire state, and alongside one of the great players in the history of this program, Eric Gash, Jason Patterson here. And Eric, that really is the story, a battle of unbeatens, two high-flying offenses to settle the crown.
Yeah, clash of the Titans, JP. I tell you something, I've always said, anytime you're still playing football and they're playing Christmas music on the radio, you had a pretty good season. And so we're really looking forward to this matchup today.
This is so much more than football. When it gets to this stage, it's about communities and lifetime memories. For a little more on this matchup, let's check in field side with Evan.
71st returns to a state final for its 5th time in program history. An alum of the program, head coach Duran McLaurin, reminds his team every day of the grind to get to this final. In fact, they have a fence outside of Loya Almond Field with all 4 of the championship banners leading up to the state title run. Last year, it was a tough season for 71st, dropping in the regional final, 1 game short of this title game. So in a rematch against Northern Nash, he told his players, guys, we have all the tools to make things happen. Let's get over the hump and make this a state championship run. Hickory takes the field with heavy hearts. Its 1996 state championship coach, Dave Elder, passed this summer due to cancer. The team has special stickers honoring Coach Elder, and in fact, in his final years, he was a neighbor of current head coach Joe Glass. They would go on weekly walks and have conversations about the trip to a state championship. And now back in a state final for the first time in 15 years, Hickory is buzzing. In fact, teachers and parents, the entire school district was shut down for virtual learning today. That way, the parents of the players could be back at Kenan Stadium and enjoy this special day. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Evan. All right, Eric, time to turn our attention to the Ingles Food for Thought. That's our keys to the game. What does it come down to in this 3A title bout?
Well, I'll tell you something, JP. For Hickory, it's going to mean controlling the clock, right, as well as controlling the line of scrimmage. And they're going to have a splash play on special teams. They're going to have to get that done. And then you have for 71st, they're going to have to limit the offensive possessions of Hickory, no turnovers, and be sound on.
There's something fitting about a Friday night and the bright lights when it comes to high school championships. It's time to crown a 3A champion in North Carolina. With that, we welcome you to Kenan Stadium. We welcome you inside one of the great venues in the entire state, alongside one of the great players in the history of this program, Eric Gash, Jason Patterson here. And Eric, that really is the story, a battle of unbeatens, 2 high-flying offenses to settle the crown.
Yeah, clash of the Titans, JP. I tell you something, I've always said, anytime you're still playing football and they're playing Christmas music on the radio, you had a pretty good season. And so we're really looking forward to this matchup today.
This is so much more than football. When it gets to this stage, it's about communities and lifetime memories. For a little more on this matchup, let's check in field side with Evan.
71st returns to a state final for its 5th time in program history. An alum of the program, head coach Duran McLaurin, reminds his team every day of the grind to get to this final. In fact, they have a fence outside of Loya Almond Field with all 4 of the championship banners leading up to the state title run. Last year, it was a tough season for 71st, dropping in the regional final, 1 game short of this title game. So in a rematch against Northern Nash, he told his players, guys, we have all the tools to make things happen. Let's get over the hump and make this a state championship run. Hickory takes the field with heavy hearts. Its 1996 state championship coach, Dave Elder, passed this summer due to cancer. The team has special stickers honoring Coach Elder, and in fact, in his final years, he was a neighbor of current head coach Joe Glass. They would go on weekly walks and have conversations about the trip to a state championship. And now back in a state final for the first time in 15 years, Hickory is buzzing. In fact, teachers and parents, the entire school district was shut down for virtual learning today. That way, the parents of the players could be back at Kenan Stadium and enjoy this special day. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Evan. All right, Eric, time to turn our attention to the Ingles Food for Thought. That's our keys to the game. What does it come down to in this 3A title bout?
Well, I'll tell you something, JP. For Hickory, it's going to mean controlling the clock, right, as well as controlling the line of scrimmage. And they're going to have a splash play on special teams. They're going to have to get that done. And then you have for 71st, they're going to have to limit the offensive possessions of Hickory, no turnovers, and be sound on special teams.
State championship contest, so often about the playmakers. Let's zero in on an individual or 2 that you'll be keeping an eye on in this one, Eric. Who are our players to watch?
All right, so we're looking at for Hickory. Got to start with number 10, Brady Stover. This young man has accounted for over 3,700 yards through the air, and you have to get him going early. He's going to have to push the ball down the field.
There's something fitting about a Friday night and the bright lights when it comes to high school championships. It's time to crown a 3A champion in North Carolina. With that, we welcome you to Kenan Stadium. We welcome you inside one of the great venues in the entire state, and alongside one of the great players in the history of this program, Eric Gash, Jason Patterson here. And Eric, that really is a story, a battle of unbeatens, two high-flying offenses to settle the crown.
Yeah, clash of the Titans, JP. I tell you something, I've always said, anytime you're still playing football and they're playing Christmas music on the radio, you had a pretty good season. And so we're really looking forward to this matchup today.
This is so much more than football. When it gets to this stage, it's about communities and lifetime memories. For a little more on this matchup, let's check in field side with Evan.
71st returns to a state final for its 5th time in program history. An alum of the program, head coach Duran McLaurin, reminds his team every day of the grind to get to this final. In fact, they have a fence outside of Loya Almond Field with all 4 of the championship banners leading up to the state title run. Last year, it was a tough season for 71st, dropping in the regional final, 1 game short of this title game. So in a rematch against Northern Nash, he told his players, guys, we have all the tools to make things happen. Let's get over the hump and make this a state championship run. Hickory takes the field with heavy hearts. Its 1996 state championship coach, Dave Elder, passed this summer due to cancer. The team has special stickers honoring Coach Elder, and in fact, in his final years, he was a neighbor of current head coach Joe Glass. They would go on weekly walks and have conversations about the trip to a state championship. And now back in a state final for the first time in 15 years, Hickory is buzzing. In fact, teachers and parents, the entire school district was shut down for virtual learning today. That way, the parents of the players could be back at Kenan Stadium and enjoy this special day. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Evan. All right, Eric, time to turn our attention to the Ingles Food for Thought. That's our keys to the game. What does it come down to in this 3A title bout?
Well, I'll tell you something, JP. For Hickory, it's going to mean controlling the clock, right, as well as controlling the line of scrimmage. And they're going to have a splash play on special teams. They're going to have to get that done. And then you have, for 71st, they're going to have to limit the offensive possessions of Hickory, no turnovers, and be sound on special teams.
State championship contest, so often about the playmakers. Let's zero in on an individual or two that you'll be keeping an eye on in this one, Eric. Who are our players to watch?
All right, so we're looking at for Hickory. Got to start with number 10, Brady Stover. This young man has accounted for over 3,700 yards through the air, and you have to get him going early. He's going to have to push the ball down the field, but more importantly, take care of the football. This young man, this offense begins and ends with him.
And on the other side?
All right, we have quarterback number 11, DeAndre Nance. This young man has over 3,000 total yards, I should say, 1,500 passing, about 1,500 rushing. He accounts for about 15 points every single game, 18 touchdowns. It starts and ends with him, and the coach has nothing but high praise for him, says he never gets rattled. He's a point guard in basketball, and everything starts and ends with this young man.
Just about time for state championship football. Out of the East, the 71st Falcons at 15-0. Identical unbeaten record for the Hickory Red Tornadoes out of the West. They collide on the other side of the break.
Robert, go for more.
Hey. Hurt in a car wreck? Don't go up against the insurance company alone. Let the heavy hitters do it for you. Call 800-LAW-0804, and we'll go after all the money they should be paying you. Stay out of the courtroom and get into the end zone.
Call the heavy hitters, who are attorneys Tatum and Atkinson.
Call the heavy hitters, they'll work to get you more. 1-800-LAW-0804.
Look what Grandpa Earl got you.
Look what Grandpa David got you.
Get the child in your life something really big.
Look what Grandpa David got you.
Look what Grandpa Earl got you.
Gift them an NC 529 account. It'll grow tax-free.
Look what Grandpa Earl got you.
Look what Grandpa David got you.
Start saving for their education today with just $25 at nc529.org.
Teens are under a lot of pressure, especially when it comes to underage drinking. They may not say a word, but as a parent, you can see the signs. We can help you help your teen. Go to talkitoutnc.org. get great ideas on how to start the conversation about alcohol. So, talk to your teen about drinking. You might be surprised at their reaction.
Welcome back to the 3A championship game in the state of North Carolina. Our broadcast presented by Tatum and Atkinson, the heavy hitters. And boy, do we have the heavy hitters in this 3A title game. You know, not every day that you see the two teams getting here with a 0 on the back end of the record. Somewhat fitting that we have a clash of unbeatens, as we discussed a bit earlier, Eric. It really comes down to who's going to have their first blemish tonight.
It certainly does, JP. And I tell you something, you know, these teams are so evenly matched, you know, and there are zeros on that right side, you know, that right column, meaning they are undefeated. But there's some more zeros on the side of 71st. This team has had 6 shutouts, defensive shutouts, meaning, man, teams didn't even have a chance because they couldn't score. And so with the teams being so evenly matched, you know, you look at total yards per game, they both average about 453. It's going to come down to the little things, you know, on special teams. I really think the special teams are going to play a huge role in this game, you know, on punts, keeping your elbows in, making sure the ball doesn't slip between you, snap, hold, and kick on the extra points or field goals. It's going to be the little things in that third phase of the game.
Those Falcons averaging 47 per game on the offensive side, heavily reliant upon their senior leadership. One of the things Coach McLaurin talks a lot about, but you said it, a lot of zeros there. 36 points the last time out, and that was the high water mark for an opponent when Northern Nash got the job done in that vein. There is a look at the head man on that 71st side of things. Wants to make sure it is all about the kids. He said, one thing I want you to know, this program, though he was a player in this program, right, and returned to be at the helm of the program now, that it's all about what happens, and what he wants is a strong finish for the young men wearing those familiar colors.
Yeah, and you got to love it. I mean, they've worked so hard. Keep in mind, this is a long season. This is game number 16, but it started, you know, over the summer in workouts and coming in for the 7-on-7s and hitting the weight room and cleaning the stadium. And not only that, but these young men are in class every day, right? And they're having to look at the teachers and administrators. It takes a village to get to this point.
Oh, one of the guys with his fingerprints all over one sideline, Joe Glass. He said Hickory was a destination job. Spent some time as an assistant there at one point and knew if he had a chance to return as the head man, it was a no-brainer. And when the job came open, he said yes, the rest is history. Has those Red Tornadoes here looking for what would be another title to match the one that was secured that you heard a little bit about right out of the gate here in that 1996 run, a 42-0 win over Ragsdale. The first championship for Hickory, trying to put a 2023 banner alongside it. Teams meeting at the field for the toss, and as you can see, defer and opting to kick away on the 71st side of things. And here the captains are going to shake hands. All right, what are those final moments leading into a state championship environment like? You've played in a high school state championship on the basketball arena not far from here. You played football at the highest levels. In these moments, just before game time, what's going on in the minds of these players and these coaches as the blood's pumping a little more right now?
Yeah, and you kind of hit the nail on the head, JP, about the blood pumping a little more. It's going to be a ton of adrenaline. You know, so early on in the game, you may, you know, see a couple of false start penalties or offsides because they're so jacked up. And so you're going to have to control your emotions. You're going to have to take your time and breathe. And remember, it's doing the small things well. You know, just hand placement, blocking, doing your assignment, staying in your lanes, you know, from a different perspective, getting your head on the right side if you're blocking on offense. And, you know, this war is going to be fought in the trenches. And I think, you know, along with special teams, whoever controls that line of scrimmage is going to have the advantage in this game.
Talked about Hickory's trip in 1996, how fruitful it was. This is the 5th time that the 71st Falcons are playing in the final game of the season. Played in the East Region Final in 1970. Since then, 84, 86, 2008, and now 2023. We'll talk about the journey for both these teams along the way, but we are ready for our Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue Kickoff. Break away from every day with Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue, and the long-awaited moment for these two 3A foes. 3A, 4A united 8 for 71st. 3A Western Foothills for Hickory Red Tornadoes. That the journey they made, and this lofted in the air. Ball on the ground, pretty good recovery just to maintain possession, but not the field position the receiving team was hoping for. They'll set up shop at around the 20. Did somebody mention something about early state championship game jitters?
That's exactly right. That young man, I'm telling you, Prince, I'm sure he's caught 100 balls, right? And never once fumbled a one. But you're in this environment. It's a bigger stadium. There's a lot more at stake than, just a regular conference game or conference championship game. Everything's on the line right here. Nobody wants to be the one to mess it up. And so, you may be a little jittery, but I'm sure that after one or two plays or hits here, they'll get settled down.
Half the battle settling them in on this Friday night. It's a Friday night, yes, but unlike any Friday night to this point. Stober going to hit his man out near side, makes a connection with Ellis Chappell, the wide receiver. Well, we introduced you to Brady Stober, the quarterback, at the outset. Who else do you highlight as we get a look at the Hickory offense in full?
I think you have to look at number 2, Little. He, he has 1,200 receiving yards, and so you want to get him going early, get him some quick, sharp throws, just to kind of get him in the rhythm of the game.
Stober closing in on 4,000 yards as he drops back, looks to throw one more time. Hickory talking about how important it was going to be to get the passing game established early. Here is Lee, a connection with the junior. Demarion Lee making the reception, moved the chains. There is the initial NC 529 first down of the game. Now up over the top again, and that with a little too much air underneath it, trying to go right back to Lee. And it is incomplete. So the defense allows everybody to take a deep breath. While we do just that, let's look at the 71st starting lineup defensively.
I think you have to look at number 9, Donovan Frederick. He's, he's leading the team in tackles. He has 104 all-purpose yards on offense, or 1,500 rushing yards. But he is going to, settle down on both sides of the ball and kind of set the pace, JP.
And it's going to be kept on the ground, just handful of yards there, up to the 45-yard line. Now, did I hear you right? It sounded like to me you were making a reference to Iron Man football. Do you expect we're going to see some of that tonight?
We may see a little bit of it, JP. I suspect that with a 3A team, you may only have 1 or 2. And, there's one player, I think, on Hickory and one on 71st that plays both ways. And when we talk about Iron Man football.
Keep an eye on it. Here's Isaiah Lackey again. He had that previous carry, and now he's going to move the chains. A first down on a toss his direction. Just like that, Hickory inside the 40-yard line. Move the chains again. An NC 529 first down that looked like this.
Yeah, and that's how you're going to slow down that pass rush, JP. While hitting with screens and draws, because it gets him on the heels, and it's going to buy you more time when you drop straight back to pass.
Well, he drops back to do just that here. Tried to swing one out to Deshaun Medley, far side, but in looking for the senior, Stober's pass is incomplete. By the way, NC 529, the sponsor of our first downs across the course of this one. It's never too late or too early to start saving for education with NC 529. This second down play coming after the incompletion on the first down toss from just inside the 40, the 37-yard line. And this is caught. A little more room after the catch and down to the 25 after the reception. You mentioned we would get to know before the night is done Jamian Little. Here's the initial catch for the junior.
And there you have, and you just see Stober just, that's an easy throw. It's a stop right out there, and it's getting him some confidence, getting his receivers seeing the ball going into their hands and making something positive, yards after that catch. And I tell you something, if you get this young man going, Stober, he's closing in on 4,000 yards of passing. And, we've seen that he throws a really good ball, tight spiral. His receivers are receptive to it, so it's awesome.
An early march for the Red Tornadoes of Hickory. On the ground this time after the passing game opens up some space in the interior. Right down the right hash. Another carry for Isaiah Lackey. What does he provide in the ground game, this junior running back?
Oh, ground and pound. I mean, just look at him. He's built like a brick house. And I tell you what, coming down to the second half, third, fourth quarter, you're going to get tired of hitting that young man. It says he stands at 5'11", 220, and he is a load. And I'll tell you something. This 71st defense only gives up 9 points a game, JP, and they had 6 shutouts. They're getting tested early right here.
More of that ground and pound you referenced, and this is inside the 20-yard line. So a red zone opportunity coming for Hickory, working their way into the Talk It Out NC red zone. Talk It Out NC. Start the conversation. Stop underage drinking. Talk It Out North Carolina, the sponsors of our red zone opportunities tonight. Weaving through traffic and all the way down to the 12-yard line. You can move the chains on a third down conversion behind the rushing ability of Isaiah Lackey.
Oh, yeah, that's just bully ball right there. You know, it's like a big fella pick your hole. They only needed a couple of yards. And I tell you something, JP, it seems like they're imposing their will on 71st right here and testing that 9-point per game defense, testing them early right now.
Up to the line quickly, and more good work being done on the left side, and the push down to the 6-yard line. What can you say about the work of the big guys up front on this opening drive for Hickory?
I tell you, one of the keys to the game, JP, was control the line of scrimmage, and that's what they're doing. They're lined up in the Wildcat there where Lackey's just taking a direct snap, and it's just bully ball right now. They got, what, 5, 6, 7 yards on that play right there, and they're just coming out right now trying to get them before they get lined up.
Lackey, 5 carries, 23 yards right out of the chute here. They'll stay on the ground with him one more time, and this is down to the 2-yard line. Now, there's a first down available. A first and goal would be there for the taking at the 1. He looks to be just inches shy of that marker.
Yeah, and I tell you something, it's happened on the last 2 plays, JP. You've had the receivers that are blocking. They're staying with the block until the whistle. They're blocking their defender into the end zone to double team them just to make sure that they have that hole opening up.
Well, timeout being called for. 7:33 to play in the opening quarter. Initial drive for the Hickory Red Tornadoes going according to script. We'll see if they can cap it with a score on the other side of the break. Early going. Hickory on the march in the 3A state championship game from Kenan.
Not gonna believe this, girl.
Dad! Dad, have you seen this?
I did it.
Wells Fargo helps thousands of students go to college.
He got in.
By funding $107 million in scholarships and programming for diverse communities.
Don't worry, I'll be back.
When a bank does what it says,
I knew you could do it.
Opportunity happens. Doing gets it done. Wells Fargo, the bank of doing.
Hickory Tornadoes team that took down 4th-seeded Dudley in a thriller, 42-41 to punch their ticket into the state championship game. And on the march, a tone-setting and according to plan opening drive, which the Tornadoes have already rolled up 76 yards, and they find themselves on the doorstep of making a statement with the first possession of the game. It is 3rd and 1. But goal line there for the taking as well, and stretching for it, just shy. He's going to be marked of the touchdown, but it is enough for a fresh set of downs. Going to be 1st and goal Hickory from the 1-yard line.
Yeah, they're just imposing their will on them. They're lining up and they're saying, hey, we're coming downhill. Now, JP, I wouldn't be surprised if they get some play action off of this and throw like a little jump pass or something over the top, because they've conditioned them right now.
Markers no longer needed. 1st and goal, direct snap to Lackey, and this time that front gets a bit of a push for the Falcons of 71st, and he is denied on 1st and goal.
Oh, it's a bit of bend, but don't break right there. You have big Zamir McFall in the middle leading the charge. The big D-line, I think his number is 65 there. He said, no, we're not having any of that. Like I said, JP, watch the play action off of this.
They left his vitals off the chart. That tells you everything you need to know. Left side, and over the left side, it's a touchdown run for Isaiah Lackey. Hickory caps the drive, a statement-making drive for the Red Tornadoes out of the West, and they find themselves up 6-0 with 6:46 remaining in the opening period.
Yeah, the big fella would not be denied. You see him kind of with his hands akimbo on his side. I can only imagine that Coach Glass is saying, hey, fella, get ready, drink a lot of water and Gatorade, because we're going to ride this train all the way down.
Now the first Meg Brown Home Furnishings touchdown, likely not the last between these two in this game. Meg Brown, furniture, mattress, outlet, interior design. Of our touchdowns tonight. The extra point is true, and Hickory takes a 7-0 lead. The Red Tornadoes go on the march to set the tone in the 3A state championship game. Evan, that was quite an impressive opening drive for the crew out of Hickory.
While Isaiah Lackey finished the job, Brady Stober was excellent. And talking to this coaching staff this week, Joe Glass noted Brady Stober is the smartest player he's ever coached. Think about a decade-plus coaching experience. It was even hard for Joe to put into words what Brady has meant to this program. But now as a two-year start, he said we have all the confidence in the world. He'll call the plays to the line of scrimmage and stepped up on that first drive for his team.
Yeah, calm and collected on that opening drive, to say the least. What impressed you most about the Hickory march there, Eric?
I think just the composure, right? You know, it started out kind of with a bobble on the kickoff, on that kickoff return, but they just steadily they just pounded the ball down the field, and they did with some passes. You know, the ball didn't hit the ground too much. You know, to Stober's accuracy and the receivers catching it. And, you know, it's almost like they're playing like they cannot be denied. You know, they see the big picture. And here they are to win this championship here in Kenan Stadium. 15
plays, 78 yards later, find themselves up 7-0 on the scoreboard. And McCourt, whose kick was good to make it 7-0, as now the Tornadoes are set to punch it away. And our Smithfield's kickoff will not be returned, just be corralled, you might say, at around the 26-yard line. And now you're going to get your first glance of DeAndre Nance and company. The 71st Falcons, well, they're going to show you probably pretty quickly just how quickly they can move the football.
Yeah, we're going to see, JP. You know, you get hit in the mouth. Was it Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And 71st has got punched in the mouth defensively. They only give up 9 points a game. And here they have on the first drive in the state championship, Hickory drives down and they punch it in. They bully them, right? They punch it in. So let's see if they're going to answer the call.
Here's the group trying to provide that answer. The starting lineup brought to you by our sponsors of the broadcast, Tatum and Atkinson, as 71st goes to work. Yeah, you make a great point, Eric, because this is going to be carried off the left side by Nance, and he's covered up after a couple of yards. Hickory said right away, no shutout tonight, and they gave their defense some points to work with. Here's a look at the starting lineup defensively for Hickory.
Yeah, I mean, I love the big fellas up front, and it starts in the trenches. You know, one of the keys to the game was control the line of scrimmage, and if they can stay disciplined, stay in their lanes, you know, when Nance is bouncing around back there and kind of squeeze them in as they you know, squeeze in on the quarterback, they're going to have some success tonight.
Second down play. Going to be a give off right side, moving through the tunnel and staying on his feet all the way to the top of that North Carolina logo in the center of Kenan Stadium to the 46-yard line as the ball carrier there is Donovan Frederick, listed linebacker, running back in his junior campaign.
He is one of our iron men. He plays on both sides of the ball. He has 1,500 yards rushing, and he once again is saying, I'm not going to be denied, rumbling, stumbling, bumbling to that first down.
Yeah, there it is. A NC 529 first down picked up by 71st this go-round. Faking the give now. Nance rolls out. See some real estate out there, but he'll be rushed out of bounds right at midfield. They're going to say he stepped out at the 49, just on the Falcons side of things. As this Falcons team looking to answer, as we told you, 15-play, 78-yard drive from Hickory to get things started. You know, you glance back at that drive for Hickory. 9 touches of the football for almost 30 yards for Lackey, who capped it with the TD. Now we'll see what type of answer can be provided by the Falcons on second down from their own 49. They need the 45 of Hickory to keep on rolling here on second down.
Yeah, just running power.
Finds a way, does he not? Look at the vision to work through traffic with ease for the field general DeAndre Nance.
That's right, over 3,000 yards of total offense. about 1,500 passing, 1,500 rushing, and this is just power right here. You know, they pull the backside guard, and they overwhelm you at the point of contact, and it's enough for a first down.
That's the amazing thing. You split his ability as a dual threat almost right down the middle. I mean, how often do you see it that the yards are as evenly distributed as they are? You mentioned right at 1,500. So you really have to honor it all when he's at the helm.
That's right, and Coach McLaurin said this young man doesn't get rattled, right? He's the same, you know, whether up or down. They hadn't been down a whole lot, but he does not get rattled. Look at that. That's number 3 right there. That's Franklin. He has 1,400 yards rushing, JP. This is a ground and pound attack also.
Jason Franklin, one of the many weapons you will become acquainted with tonight in the stable for the Falcons, and he's carrying them with him as the chains now just a couple of yards away from movement on what will be a second down play coming. Get a really good look at Jason Franklin. I'll go back to your point about the leadership ability of DeAndre Nance that has been on display. It's one thing to do it in a state championship environment the way he has on this opening drive, much like what we saw from his counterpart Stober. It's another thing to do it when you have to provide an answer after that tone-setting drive from Hickory.
Yeah, it's about keeping your composure, doing the things that you do well, continue to do that, and look for those opportunities to make a big play. You know, with that dual threat capability that he has, you know, running and throwing, man, look for some play action, and they'll run that quarterback keeper. They'll run that power where they block down on one side and they pull the backside guard and tackle around, and they outnumber you at the point of contact, and it creates those running lanes. As we can see, you know, Nance is a 1,000-yard rusher. Franklin's a 1,000-yard rusher, as well as Frederick. So they know how to rack up those yards on the ground, JP.
Yeah, explosive playmakers up and down the roster on both sides. It's going to be kept on the ground one more time. It will be Frederick again, and he's got more than enough for the first down. His contact is ultimately made down around the 27-yard line. Move the chains. Here's a look at another NC 529 first down.
Yep, once again, you get big 77 pulling around the end. I think that's Rylan Grable. I love seeing the big fellas get into action and pull around. It's nothing, it brings no more joy to my heart than pull around the corner and see a little DB sitting there trying to fend me off, and he's gonna nail him every time.
Now wait a minute, what side of the ball did you play on here in North Carolina?
At North Carolina, I was on the defensive side, but I go back to the high school days, JP, where I played center.
I'm with you, absolutely. First down play coming, and unable to rattle away is a ball carrier. One of the reasons for that, a nice stop coming in and making it, is Abernathy. Quinshea Abernathy there, filling up your screen for this Hickory squad. Turner Wood also a part of things. Take another look at, they tried to create some space for Frederick, and it was not to be.
And that's that power, JP. What they want you to do is, as they block down, they want to try and kick you out and create a hole where you can run north-south or toward the goal post easier, as opposed to making them stretch it out, and that's what Abernathy did there. Yeah, really good play.
Good look at the junior, listed as the defensive end. Pulling this out is Nance. He's going to roll, trying to direct some traffic. Sees enough of a seam to get near the marker. Going to be interesting where they spot this. That may be enough for the first down. It appears it will be.
Yeah, and see, that's that play action. They get you, they run the power, they get you pulling one way, get you flowing one way, and then he runs out to that naked boot. And that's great discipline by Hickory, staying home. But I tell you something, that is dangerous, because you have that guard and tackle pulling. Those linebackers are going to go up that flow because they've had so much success with it. That's why there's nobody in the flat out there.
Well, and Isaiah Kirby was saying, you know what, I'm here if you need me as well on that play. We'll see if that at some point is run and it ends up in his hands before all is said and done. Inside 4 minutes left to go in the opening period. Both teams have touched the football once. Hickory with a touchdown off of it. We don't know what the outcome is for the Falcons yet, though it's trending that same direction, spinning forward inside the 15. The jury's still out on what will happen with this talk it out NC red zone opportunity for 71st, but they continue to roll up the yards. This time Jason Franklin getting the call again.
Yep, and I tell you something, Hickory played it well. They're disciplined. They block down, you squeeze, and you keep your shoulders square, and you take on the block. But I love how 71st is running that power. They're setting it up, JP, and but they're really disciplined, and they're winning the line of scrimmage now.
Tristan Williams, the linebacker, one of the reasons it was just a couple on that first down play. And there will be nothing on the second down play. A loss of right back near the original line of scrimmage. About a couple taken away. Going to be 3rd and nearly 10 after that stop. Nice push on the far side of that line. Pitts and company able to get in there with ease.
Yeah, you mentioned that I am a defensive guy, and so I love seeing defense, especially those linebackers, flow to the hole. You get your big fellas up front that are keeping the O-line off of them, and it frees up your linebackers to plug those holes, JP.
Here is third down. The Falcons looking for the 6-yard line to move the chains. Give off right between the hashes, trying to wrestle his way loose is Jason Franklin, but he's only going to have a handful. It'll be fourth down from outside the 10.
Decision time. I'm not sure what kind of field goal kicker they have over 71st, but you got to be thinking this is 4-down territory to try and match that score that Hickory had on their opening drive. It'd be nice to get that opening score as well for Coach McLaurin and the Falcons there.
Devlin Coleman would be the option. Doesn't look as if he's going to be given the nod here. Offense still out there looking for instructions on what is 4th down and 7. Decisive play of the opening drive for the Falcons of 71st, but it'll have to wait. Timeout being taken. We will take it as well. Just under 2 to play in the opening period. Outcome of the 71st drive to be decided.
From coast to coast, from the Great Lakes to the Gulf. At Spectrum Reach, we make local businesses big, and big brands look local. We help businesses grow with the best content, insights, products, and people. We are proud to partner with businesses in your neighborhood, like this one.
Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue. Break away from the everyday to Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue.
Welcome to Spectrum Reach. Let us show you around the neighborhood.
First period nearly behind us. Just one touch of the football for both teams in this first quarter thus far. And here's the decisive play of the 71st Falcons drive. 4th down. They need the 6-yard line to move the chains. You know what's just beyond that. And here's a toss to that end. And it's going to be caught at the 1 into the end zone for the touchdown. And 71st turns to Drummond on a toss from Nance, pending the extra point. They will have evened the score with 1:43 to play. How about this toss to Amir Drummond? 4th down, needed a handful, went for it all, and they're paid off with what would be a tie game pending the extra point.
Yeah, as advertised, JP, these teams are so evenly matched. Like I said, with both of them coming in averaging 453 yards per game, and you know, one touch of the ball, they both score.
Extra point straight up and true from Devlin Coleman. And just like that, everything even at 7 apiece. Jitters in a state championship environment for these 3A teams? Nah, this is a 4th down toss that translates into the first state championship score of the night for the Falcons of 71st.
Yep, looks like they had them in man coverage, had play action. See, that play action freezes those linebackers. So that's the point of running that power, and it gives them that eye candy. So instead of them dropping back into that zone, they're running cover 1 where it's man-to-man, and, you know, you run that slant. If you let the offensive guy get in, that receiver get inside of you, it's going to be a 6.
Part of that senior leadership for the Falcons. You knew Drummond was going to be a factor at some point. For a little more on him, let's check back in with Evan.
So Drummond's one of the two-way gladiators we talked about in the pregame. That's his 6th touchdown of the year. And to get ready defensively, he ran straight to the Gatorade bottle, doused himself like he was Waterboy in the movies, and got himself ready on defense because he plays every single snap here for 71st.
Now there is that Iron Man football you were talking so much about. Thanks, Evan. And again, it impresses you what both of these teams were able to handle right away. You know, it's an unusual thing for 71st to give up points. They did that and yet bounced back with a touchdown. Hickory had the bobble on the opening kickoff, said, nah, we're not worried about it. We're going to go on a 15-play drive the length of the field to set the tone for this one. So both teams, suffice it to say, handling the moment well. It worked the last time around. Why not try it again? A little bit of trouble with the football, but it's picked up and taken to the 29-yard line, and that is where the Tornadoes will take over. But if anything was learned in nearly the first quarter now gone, Eric, it is these two teams came ready to play.
They sure did, JP. And I'll tell you something. On both kickoffs from both teams, you know what they did? They pooched it. They're like, nah, you're not gonna hurt me with this special team. And they're putting all the weight on their offense and their defense. And so they're trying to control that third element or third aspect of the game with being special teams. And that kickoff could prove pivotal.
Fresh off the 15-play, 70-plus yard drive. It's back in the hands of Stober now. And he's going to toss this out across the 40 and finally out of bounds is Deshaun Medley. Or Hickory checked that. That's Little again as it's right back in the wide receiver's hands. A junior who is expected to be such a factor in this one tonight. Was on that opening drive, and he's back in action here.
Yeah, he shows his ability to get out and scramble. Now, he only has about 80 yards rushing on the year, so you know he wants to do it with his arm. And, you know, you saw right there that he can get out of trouble, but he wants to put that ball in the hands of his playmakers to do all the heavy lifting there, JP.
Had the one catch for 12 yards on that opening drive. So his second of consequences. It sets up a fresh set of downs here. But able to push through with the penetration the Falcons had hoped for is Frederick. Well, you keep talking about those that are making a difference on both sides. Of course, also filling up some space. Big John Archer, as they call him. And he's quite a specimen in his freshman campaign.
Freshman campaign. That is something else. He is 6'5". He's huge.
Yeah, the nose tackle, he will fill up some space tonight. Back to the air. Going to be caught once more by Lee. And that's across midfield into the 47-yard line on the other side. That's going to be very close to another first down, and it is. They will move the chains as the NC 5-2-9 first downs are coming in succession. The latest one picked up just inside the final minute of the first period.
Yeah, nice stop route there, but good discipline there from 71st. Playing it only got him, a couple of yards, but it was enough for the first down. And I tell you something, JP, Stober throws a really good ball. It's going to be interesting to see how the game progresses and to see how 71st adjusts to him.
Hickory on the Falcons side of the field again and down to the 32-yard line as there was a seam following the catch for Deshaun Medley.
Yeah, they get him moving. It's just an option route is what it is. He could have chose to run the ball, but he's once again getting the ball into the hands of his playmaker.
Locate Medley, locate Little, locate Lee, because the options, well, they are countless for Brady Stober. He goes to the skies one more time, and this is out of bounds at the 22-yard line. And 27 seconds remain in the first period of play. This just the second drive of the game for Hickory.
And they're moving the ball, JP. They're controlling the clock. You want to keep the ball out of this high-powered offense from 71st and keep it out of their hands. And they're right on the game plan, right on schedule. And it seems that 71st, they're going to have to, make some adjustments, be it this is just the first quarter, but going to have to get some heat on him as well.
Just when it looks like the heat was going to pay off, guess what? Brady Stober tucks it, finds enough of a seam to get inside the 15-yard line all the way down near the 10. We'll see where they spot this. They're going to say he went into his slide at around the 12, but a little bit placed in the back of the mind as Stober says, we can hurt you with that also. Quick pass, far side, incomplete.
So frustrating with the big fellas. You almost get him, and he slips right through the crack, runs to a first down. And they can still get a first down without scoring right now. And, it puts 71st right back in the same position.
Look who that was on the coverage on the far side. Drummond there to disrupt one more time for the Falcons as he was providing that coverage just near the pylon. 10 seconds left in the opening quarter. Both teams effective on their opening drives. Hickory in striking distance again as they find themselves back in the talk it out NC red zone. Sweep inside the 10 down to the 5. And finally driven out of bounds, just cited as Ellis Chappell. They targeted Ellis Chappell with a pass early in the game. He's back in the thick of things one more time on the final play of the opening quarter. Offensive night, perhaps, in the 3A title game. So far, so good to that end.
Don't settle for limited options online.
Come into Meg Brown Home Furnishings, where you can sit in a sofa that's made just for you.
We can help you customize your furniture to reflect your own unique style.
Come visit our 15,000 square foot store and outlet for the best name brands in furniture.
Our team of talented designers is here to assist you with your furniture needs. Come see us, Meg Brown Home Furnishings, just off 540 in Bermuda Run.
Robert, go for more.
Hey! Hurt in a car wreck? Don't go up against the insurance company alone. Let the heavy hitters do it for you. Call 800-LAW-0804 and we'll go after all the money they should be paying you. Stay out of the courtroom and get into the end zone.
Call the heavy hitters, where attorneys Tatum and Atkinson.
Call the heavy hitters, they'll work to get you more. 1-800-LAW-0804.
One quarter in the books. North Carolina High School Athletic Association 3A state championship game, and our broadcast presented by Tatum and Atkinson, the heavy hitters. It was just that, a heavy hitting first quarter. These offenses particularly, may surprise you to know, 144 yards of offense to 71 favor Hickory. That's simply because they've touched the football twice. Here's a third down play on their second drive of the game, and the Tornadoes will have it across the 5 to the 4. Your takeaways from that first quarter and your thoughts on this upcoming fourth down.
Yeah, I think they're doing what they did, you know, at the end of, in the first quarter, just kind of bully ball. They line up in that power set, and it's just power right, power left, and they have to get, what, about 2 yards now, a yard and a half, 2 yards? It'll be, oh, look, so they're bringing the offense back. Okay, bringing Silver back in. Okay, because, yeah, they were kind of, you know, and I saw, you know, the ball kind of bobble a little bit there in the arms of Lackey, so we'll see.
Now here is the junior quarterback Stover and the field general for this Tornado squad. Red Tornadoes on the doorstep again, but they're going to talk this fourth down play over. Timeout called by Hickory here. Take us inside the huddle, Eric.
Interesting, yeah. Maybe they came out to see if they could get him to jump or something like that, but because they just had the break, and so you would think they would already have a play set. So you're coming out to, you know, have a plan. If they don't jump, then this is what we're going to do. But interesting about the timeouts, because 71st has burned 2 of their timeouts, so they have 1 left for the half. So that may come into play a little bit later, but, you know, they're here for a reason. So, you know, Coach has a reason for doing what he did.
Well, if you just happened to have found us, both teams with first period touchdowns on extended drives. It was a 15-play drive to get things started for Hickory, followed by a 12-play drive from 71st. Both of those drives up over 70 yards, interestingly enough. And, you know, you talked a little bit off air about the importance of defensive stops. You get the sense a moment like this, whoever can come away with that key defensive stop in the game, for all the talk about offense, may be the difference maker. Here's a fourth down to that end.
Yep.
Out of the timeout.
Big play right here. It looks to me like they may run a speed option and read number 9. I'm not sure, but we're going to see. It's got to be your best play, though.
Stober ends up giving that. They tried to turn back to Lackey, who had rushed for the touchdown earlier, and this 4th down is turned aside. A turnover on downs inside the 10, as 71st's defense does have its first half moment.
There you go once again, JP. This team is only giving up 9 points a game, so that's still intact. And, you know, it's the bend but don't break mentality, right? Now, so now they need to put together a 96-yard drive right here so we can see if they can do that. But that was a great defensive stand. But, you know, Hickory is probably saying, too, hey, our defense is playing okay. Let's take a shot.
So one team scores on a 4th down play.
Yeah.
In the red zone, and the other turned aside. Fans loving it. You see those who've made the trip to support these two outstanding programs, and of course they come from 2 tremendous communities in the state of North Carolina, and up across the 10 looking for a little breathing room is DeAndre Nance now with his team pointed in the other direction. And just trying to create a little bit of space to work with back there.
Yeah, just simply a quarterback keeper. Once again, this young man has 1,500 yards rushing on the year, so you can definitely trust him with the ball and ball security, but to give him just a little more space so they can operate back there.
Carried it 4 times for 28 yards on the opening drive, and he is 1 for 1 for 13 yards through the air so far in this game. You know, so much of the work is done on the ground, and to that end, this is going to be placed in the hands of Donovan Frederick, who picks up a Hardee's first down. Hardee's, goodness in the making, sponsors of our first downs here in the second period. 1st and 10. With every passing play for the Falcons, the playbook opens up a little more with the room behind them. That'll be the case one more time, as up across the 20-yard line following this carry is Donovan Frederick. Good-looking player, the junior.
Oh, for sure. And it keeps him on schedule, JP. You know, that's what, 5-6 yards a clip. That'll keep the chains moving. It'll keep the clock running, and that ground and pound. It can frustrate a defense if a team is getting 4 or 5 yards a clip, because you do that all the way down the field. In theory, you should score. And so this is playing right into the hands of 71st. They're not panicking like, you know, Coach McLaurin was saying about Nance. He never gets rattled.
Nance, the one completed pass on the opening drive, has another here. Flags come in from everywhere as he makes the connection with Xavion Hill, one of the seniors, able to reel this pass in, but flags down at the 24 and the 27-yard line.
Yeah, he may have a lineman a little too far downfield, thinking he's in the route.
We have ineligible downfield on the offense.
You've seen this movie before.
Yeah, the big fellas get so excited. It's like, wait a minute, I got to put my hands on somebody. If you're to block a linebacker, he may be blitzing and then he peels out of there and you go chasing him. Next thing you know, you're 4 or 5 yards down the field. And so it's just a hustle play, and you can see the lineman just kind of putting his hands on his head thinking like, oh, man, that was my bad. But, you know, once again, Nance doesn't get rattled, so we'll see how that works out for him.
Second down play coming. Now needing the extent of 10 yards up to the 27. Swinging Kirby all the way out to the bottom portion of your screen. Going to be kept by Nance, and he's up across the 20 to the 22-yard line. And third down is coming now. What's there for 71st to work with on this third down?
Yeah, it kind of gets them back on schedule, because if you're thinking 4 down, Terry, you know, we hadn't seen a punt yet, right? And so if you're thinking, man, we got 4 downs to get 5 yards, it may be another run offside. But that play action, JP, that always pays dividends, especially when you can run the ball and slam it up in the middle like that, because those linebackers on that second level, they have to honor the play action, and it opens up that zone right behind them.
See what Coach McLaurin and his staff have in store for this third down and 5. Nance to the air again, and that was broken up and not far out of the reach of Lee this time, who again is one of those whose name we have called in multiple roles thus far today.
I hope I didn't, what they call it, the announcer's curse. I said it hadn't been a punt all day, and here we have a 4th and 5, and it looks like 71st may be dropping back to punt.
Well, both teams score on their opening drive. Hickory looks as if they're going to on a drive that extends into the second period, but is turned away inside the red zone on a 4th down. And now on the ensuing drive, 71st does have the kicking unit out there. And this is punted. And fair caught at the 45 on the other side. So just shy of the 50. That's where the Red Tornadoes will take over. Much more to come in the 3A title game. Our broadcast presented by Tatum and Atkinson.
In 100 counties in North Carolina, we have over 800 agents. We are within the communities, and our job is to help you. It's not just a business relationship, it's a friendship. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Now you will want to stick around for the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas halftime report. Special interview from Commissioner Q. Tucker. We'll have first half highlights, all that and a whole lot more as a part of the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas halftime report. Find the perfect Honda during your Happy Honda Day. See your local Honda Dealers of the Carolinas today. Honda Dealers halftime report. Some 8 minutes and change away, but plenty to talk about at halftime already with what has transpired. Hickory taking back over just inside their own territory, only there for a moment as they get it right up to the 50-yard line and slightly into 71st territory. So the initial round went to both offenses. The second round went to both defenses, and now we settle in to a bit of a rhythm here in the second quarter.
That's exactly right, JP. That's a great way of putting it. Kind of settling in. You know, you're seeing each other for the very first time, and look, we have the big fella Lackey there just rumbling, bumbling for a first down. But yeah, you see each other for the very first time. You don't quite know what to expect, the physicality of it, the speed of it. But now, as you said, they're settling in, and now we're going to see the cream rises to the top, and we'll see what happens with this offense right now.
13th carry for Lackey. He's already well up over 30 yards and dancing outside and crossing the barrier after being handed the football is Deshaun Medley this time around. Two teams with a tremendous number of playmakers. Maybe that's one of the headlines beginning to emerge here as well, is you got so many different individuals you have to honor defensively on both sides.
Yeah, you certainly do. And it's just really, you know, from a defensive perspective, it's just being sound, staying disciplined. If you're in man coverage, keeping your eyes on your defender. If you're in zone, keeping, you know, your head on a swivel and covering your zone. But yeah, it's the first one to bend. Nice play there by the young fella getting up to the first down. Yeah, it's just being disciplined, JP, and it's almost like you're poking and prodding and seeing what's going on. You know, play action, you're setting up something right now in the first half. Hopefully you can come back to in the second half of play action.
This poke and prod, another toss to Medley, and it results in a Hardy's first down. Hardy's goodness in the making. Sponsors of our first downs in this second period. And Stober quickly back to work. They like to move with pace, these Tornadoes, and they love it when it ends up like this. A toss down inside the 5-yard line, and finally brought down at the 1 is Jamian Little. Here's the junior one more time.
There you go, man. You know, you close your splits on your offensive line when it's a pass like that. You kind of lean on those big fellas, and he just ran kind of like a little a slip right down the middle. And there's the big Lackey.
Pace. They go right back to Lackey. There is a flag down at around the 5-yard line, but he worked it into the end zone, and Hickory is celebrating the touchdown if it stands, but always that feel of wait a moment with the flag down at the 5.
Yeah, it may be an illegal shift. Not sure, JP. I didn't quite catch it, but from the area it came down, it looks like he may have seen something.
We'll see if this Meg Brown Home Furnishings touchdown will stand for the Hickory team trying to reclaim the lead at the 7:14 mark.
Yeah, it's either that or offsides. That side judge is usually going to call that. But we'll see.
Two very different outcomes depending upon which of those is in effect. Here's our call. Well, if our lip reading skills are any good, it looked like he was saying illegal substitution. And they're coming over to see exactly what Coach Glass and company would like the outcome to be, and I'm sure his response is anything that means 6 stays up on the scoreboard.
We have illegal participation on the defense. 5-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Illegal participation, the call there, and again,
12 men on the field, I guess.
The response has to be anything that leaves those 6 up on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I don't care what it is. Just keep the 6. That's right.
And that's the case for Hickory as they take a 13-7 lead. And trying to make the extent of this possession count, they will. Rushed in as Hickory will convert behind Tyler Johnson. And it is 15-7 Red Tornadoes. Hickory back out front in the 3A state championship game.
At Blue Cross North Carolina, we resolve to be a champion for women everywhere. Truist is a proud partner of the NCHSAA. Supporting our athletes and their families is one way that Truist deliver on their purpose to inspire and build better lives and communities.
Well, a host of players involved on that Hickory drive, and a number of candidates for the Tatum and Atkinson Player of the Game Award, which will be handed out before the conclusion of tonight's contest. Tatum and Atkinson injured in a car wreck called the Heavy Hitters, reminding you they are the Heavy Hitters and proud sponsors of this 3A state championship broadcast of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association Championship Weekend. And we welcome you back to Kenan Stadium. Hickory scoring on 2 of their 3 drives in this first half, and this squibbed right down the middle of the field. Now that's a live ball, and diving on it as everybody wearing those Falcons colors take a deep breath right quick. It's Donovan Frederick to smother it up, and it'll stay with 71st.
There you go. Special teams, JP. Those splash plays, you know, now 71st, unfortunately, is going to be chasing that 1 point all game. So if they score and kick an extra point, do you kick the extra point or do you go for 2 trying to chase that 1 point? So special teams has proven to be kind of an issue early on in the game.
A game-changing decision for sure. You saw the Windsor Jewelers scoring summary. Happily Ever After always begins at Windsor Jewelers. An effective drive for Hickory, 6 plays, 55 yards, just under a minute that time around to take the 15-7 lead. 2-point conversion by Tyler Johnson, the difference-making moment at the backside of the touchdown, which stood after the penalty. Well, I think we can kind of say throughout the night, Eric, all right, your turn now. And it is DeAndre Nance's turn as 71st takes over. Well, what have you seen from these 2 offenses as the way they've kind of punched and counterpunched thus far?
Well, you know, we look at JP, the signal callers, right? You have Stover on one side, you have Nance on the other side. Everything starts with these 2, and they're taking into their, you know, the game into their hands with Nance. You know, as his head coach was telling McLaurin that he does not get rattled. And so we're going to see how he answers the call here. You know, had that first stop, and, you know, he had that little cue keeper, a little cue ISO for the first down, and we'll see how well they march down the field now with just about 6.5 to go.
Franklin, plenty of red Tornadoes jerseys flying around there as they bring the running back to a halt after a minimal gain. 6:20 and ticking downward to go in the opening half of action. A 71st team that handled Northern Nash. 50-36 was the final. Make the first trip since 08. That, as Evan told you in the open, avenged the loss in that slot last year. Boy, how good was Nance in that outing last week in order to get the job done. Going to turn and give off this time around to Frederick. You look at his numbers in the semifinal round. He was responsible for 6 touchdowns. He rushed for 4 and he threw for 2, did DeAndre Nance, as the catalyst for this squad.
That's amazing. It's amazing. And the good and bad of it is this. The good thing is that he's on your team, right? And this young man knows how to score. He can put the ball in the end zone. The bad is if he's not clicking on all cylinders, who's next, right? It's about next man up. And so we're going to see right now, and here we go, right again, that quarterback ISO off the right side gets the first down. Kudos to that young man. He is imposing his will on the the red Tornadoes right now.
They call Nance's number this time around, and he's got another Hardee's first down. Move the chains up to the 39-yard line. And you heard us right. 4 rushing, 2 throwing in a 6-touchdown performance, willing his team beyond the hurdle. This is a team, Eric, they had been knocking on the door time and time again. There's a strong foundation in that community. What they've meant, what football means in Fayetteville, right? Yeah. And what they've meant to that community. But what it meant to finally get over the hump. They had been pounding at the door, trying to break through, make their way back into a state championship environment. And that was a statement performance on the part of their leader to will them here.
Yeah, and I tell you something, a lot of things have to go right in order to get into a state championship. I mean, one, health. You have to stay healthy, right? Kids have to do what they have to do in the classroom, doing their assignments, staying out of trouble, being good citizens. And you have to perform out here on the football field. And we're seeing all that come to a head right now, the culmination of all that hard work from both of these teams.
Helps when you have a guy like Coach McLaurin, who you saw there, who understands the culture. He played in those colors, so he knows the expectations that surround the program. Here's our call on the
false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So a rarity that we will see his team behind the sticks here after the false start to make it 1st and 15.
And I tell you something, it's been a pretty clean game as far as penalties are concerned. Yes. And that shows and proves that both of these teams are well coached. These coaches are leaders of young men, and they're doing it the right way. And you're right, JP, they're now off schedule and behind the sticks with a 1st and 15.
Yeah, just a couple of flags. And both of them going against 71st. Of course, the one that was really inconsequential at the end of the Hickory drive a moment ago. Every time he touches the football, it's consequential. Here's Nance still on his feet, and he's all the way into Hickory territory at the 40-yard line. Looking a lot like the last time around for DeAndre Nance.
Oh, I got to tell you, I hope we got this on camera. Big number 56, Hutchinson. He pulls around that corner, and he just flattens that defensive end right there. Great block by the big fella getting out and springing the quarterback for that huge gain. That was a great block, JP. If we had a play of the game for now, for me being a former offensive lineman, that's the play of the game for me right there. That was a great block.
All about the work that takes place in the trenches, that much is sure. This is going to be given off to Frederick, and Frederick is still up, and he's fighting with the pile being drugged behind him into the red zone. Down to the 15-yard line is Frederick, and he simply willed a talk-it-out NC red zone opportunity for his team.
Well, JP, I stand corrected. This becomes the play of the game for me right there. He goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's about yards after contact, and he would not be denied. He probably ran another 12, 15 yards after he received that first contact.
Well, they're making it hard to figure out what's going to be a part of the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas halftime report from a highlight standpoint, a number of candidates to be a part of that package, which is still just over 4 minutes away. And we do remind you, you will want to stick around for the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas halftime report. You'll hear from Commissioner Q. Tucker of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. You'll have some of those premier plays Eric was talking about, the numbers from the first half and a whole lot more. And Honda reminding you that during the holidays, see your local Honda dealer of the Carolinas for Happy Honda Days. And that's all coming up for you as part of our halftime report. 3:38 to play in the first half. Second down coming for 71st inside the 15. Nance working his way through traffic using that trademark field vision. He's getting some help as he stays up all the way near the goal line. They're going to spot him down at the 1 yard line on a relentless effort.
Not to be denied, JP, once again. A candidate for play of the game. Look at this young man. He's, once again, there's that Q power, quarterback power, and he comes around the edge, and he's breaking 3, 4, 5 tackles right there. Not to be denied. Great determination by the young man, Nance, as he is one of our players to watch, and he's proven to live up to the billing.
DeAndre Nance trying to engineer the drive to answer the Red Tornadoes having taken the lead on their last touch, and he will. Caps it with a rush of his own over the right side, and DeAndre Nance is into the end zone with the Meg Brown Home Furnishings TD.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's rewarding to work all that hard and come down there and you finally get to step across that goal line. That was a good play by the young man. Q keeper, hey, he's the horse that got you here, so why not ride him all the way? That was a great play.
Meg Brown, furniture, mattress, outlet, interior design. Meg Brown Home Furnishings sponsoring our touchdowns throughout the course of this one. Well, Hickory converting on the 2-point conversion. Nance and company now trying to do the same, and he will dance through traffic and be awarded the conversion. So it is good there. You called it. Was all kind of activity taking place in traffic on the line of scrimmage. Now, hands were raised by our official on the far side indicating the conversion was good, but there's plenty to sort out for our officials.
Yeah, it may have been kind of helping. We see that going on in the NFL right now. I'm not sure what the call is. We'll see right here, but they may have helped them into the end zone, and you can't do that in high school football. But I'm not sure. We'll see what it is right now, JP. But once again, like I mentioned, chasing that point.
One of the few times helping, not a positive thing necessarily. Now, he pointed, our official pointed on the Hickory side there. And looks like they're now going to walk this off from the original spot of the PAT. I think perhaps the confusing piece of this, Eric, is that you saw the official at the end of that point as if this was against Hickory. Clearly, they walked this out against 71st here, and it looks like we have further explanation coming. Not the only ones, those of you at home, not the only ones confused right now. Coach Glass saying, can I get a little further explanation on that?
Yeah, it was an illegal forward pass. I'm not sure. On the replay there, we saw it looks like he threw it forward, but he's a quarterback, and unless somebody was downfield, not sure what is going on there.
Just one more look at it. Walk us through what you see.
Okay, yeah, so we see it's just a cute keeper right now, and they stop him, and see right there, it looks like he threw it forward, but then you have all these linemen. You have number 66 that's in the end zone that's past the line of scrimmage, and so maybe it's an eligible receiver downfield.
The interesting piece of that is whatever has happened here, and this may be the explanation that Coach Glass is looking for, it did not end the try. They are backing it up just a bit from the original point after spot. And it looks like 71st is going to get a second crack at it. Okay. So here are the Falcons on the field. Touchdowns on the board. It's a 15-13 game. This is to equalize. Nance looks as if he's going to throw. And he's got all kind of problems and will eventually just toss this aside The try, no good, and after the touchdown, 15-13 will be our score with just under 3 minutes to play.
And JP chasing that 1 point, right? On that, they scored the, the 2-point conversion, and now 71st is chasing that point. And so now they're down 2 as opposed to just 1.
And you tip your cap to Hickory at the end of that drive. It was a design scenario. No hesitation. Offense stayed right out there. They converted on the 2-point play, and you said it. That has been the defining moment of the football game in this first half.
Certainly is, and they'll be chasing it until, obviously, until they catch it. But that's just in the back of your mind. And once again, it comes down to making those splash plays in that third phase of the game, right? Special teams, an extra point, that's considered a special, right? And so here we have it. They scored that 2-point conversion, and now it puts 71st in a position to where they're chasing points.
It's Tyler Johnson's 2-point conversion at the end of the Hickory drive that is the difference right now. How about the drives in this football game? 15 for 74 yards on the initial Hickory drive, then 12 of 71 on the equalizer, the one that Drummond caught the pass to cap it to make it 7 apiece. These drives a little shorter, 6 of 55, just under a minute, that made it 15-7 with the 2-point conversion for Hickory, and then 71st now marching 85 yards, but on 9 plays, they ate up 419 on that drive, as the 2-point conversion no good makes it 15-13 in our 3A state championship game. Of course, all of our summaries in this one along the way brought to you by Windsor Jewelers, and it's going to be returned, but only to around the 31-yard line, and Hickory set to take over after the kickoff. Well, we also will have a play of the game for you, something Eric has alluded to on more than one occasion in this first half. It's brought to you by Carolina Carport. Quality is our first priority. Candidates abound, and a whole half of football plus left to go. There's plenty of time for us to select the Carolina Carport play of the game. You want to stick around for that before the day is done. What a night in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And Kenan Stadium, host site for the 3A state championship game. Hickory, deep shot, and that is in and out of the hands of the DB. A chance to take that away for who else but Drummond. Saw him go right to the head with the hands. He thought, here's a chance. That slipped through the fingertips, but it was a deep shot for Hickory that was not to be.
Yeah, that was so close. You're playing, in a stadium this large, and the lights kind of get in your eyes, and you just, sometimes you think about what you're going to do with the ball before you actually catch the ball. And, he's a great receiver, and, just maybe took his eyes off the ball just for a split second there and missed that easy interception.
Yeah, Drummond, one of the outstanding players, as we've talked about, that you have to keep an eye on both sides of the ball. Wrestled out at the 31, and enough on the end of that a flag comes in to seal it.
Yeah, Justice, once again, maybe it's the announcer's curse. We talk about, very few penalties going on, and then we have a big one here. I think he's going to get him a late hit out of bounds.
Have a dead ball, personal foul on the defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's not going to be the way 71st would have hoped things would transpire after the deep shot went for naught and they were able to wrestle the ball carrier out of bounds, but the extracurricular going to take it all the way up to the 46-yard line. 1st and 10, Hickory there. And one of the points of conversation for Coach McLaurin, he talked about how critical it was going to be for his defensive backs, for his secondary, to stay back and keep the Hickory receivers in front. I think you have to say to that end, so far so good to some degree on this drive. Just was an opportunity to secure the pick there that Drummond would like to have back.
And with that, you see, they just got 8 yards on that. So if you're giving me that much of a cushion, then as an offense, you're going to take what the defense gives you. So if you're going to give me 8 yards a clip, that'll keep me ahead of schedule. And so therefore you have it.
Outstanding point. Now rolling, seeing some wide open real estate between his receiver and the end zone, and tossing it that direction is Stober, but it is incomplete. We'll talk about a missed opportunity on one side. You have to like what Stober was thinking right there. because he had 6 in mind.
Yeah, and, you know, he uses his legs just enough to get him free, to get him out of trouble, and he's always keeping his eyes downfield. You know, if they're coach, you know, college, you know, that are watching this, he should send that film in because he's always looking downfield and he's always trying to make a play there.
Plenty of running room inside the 40. Finally wrestled out of bounds there. The latest of the key first half carries for the junior Isaiah Lackey.
Yeah. He is a load. I tell you something, DBs don't want to hit big fellows like that late in the second half. But, you know, kudos to Hickory there, you know, executing their game plan, you know, taking what the defense has given them. That one went to the short side of the field, to the weak side. And, yeah, they just keep moving the chain. So be interesting to see how 71st, how they're going to adjust.
Kind of back that wears you down. That ends up being his 15th carry, up over 40 yards to his credit now, and that's a Hardy's first down. And this is caught. His job to bring that in. Soft touch in good hands. As this is caught by Ellis Chappell and is good for 4 or so on first down. 2 minutes to go in the opening half. Hickory driving once more back in Falcons territory with a second down coming.
Yeah, you got to think Hickory want to score with about 2 seconds left on the clock. You don't want to give the ball back to this high-powered offense from 71st.
217 yards already for Hickory in the game. Right at 150 of them coming through the air thus far. Looking for a little more in that statistical category. Here's a toss to Little. And he is out of bounds, but not before he has enough for yet another Hardy's first down. Hardy's goodness in the making. Hickory hoping that this drive is goodness in the making as they find their way. Well, chain crew's coming back now as they're going to spot this as if he went out of bounds at the 27. And it's going to take them a moment to reset things chain-wise as they're setting this up with third down on the marker over there. Now, third down markers beyond the links right now, but well, Hickory players saying, go ahead and move those. And in the end, guess what? That's exactly what they're going to do. Forget all that, what we said originally. First down Hickory at the 27-yard line. Give the officials credit. They've done such a great job tonight, making sure every single inch of real estate is accounted for in this 10-yard fight that is a championship football game. 92 seconds remaining in the opening half, and it is a Hardy's first down for Hickory. Caught on the slant and brought down at the 15-yard line in between the hashes. Boy, another target of Jamian Little, and the junior once more has another Hardy's first down.
Yep, and they're going hurry up there, and he's giving that jet sweep coming across. We see a flag down. It's probably for holding. But yeah, JP, I'm looking at the defensive backs for 71st, and they're giving them so much of a cushion, right? 8-10-yard cushion that, I mean, it's there for the taking, really.
Well, it's the point that we started this drive with, Eric, as they sort out the flag here. There was such a concern on making sure they kept those receivers in front of them. Thus, that cushion you're talking about has allowed Hickory to live underneath and march down the field on almost all of their drives to this point.
Yeah, because they're getting 8 yards of play.
We have holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot.
But it's a coach's nightmare, right? When you're playing a 15-0 team on the other side, it's true for both of these coaches. You got to pick your poison on a night like this.
That's exactly right. And interestingly enough, the closer you get to the goal line in that red zone, it shrinks those zones. And so the defenders can play a little bit closer to them. But in the middle of the field, they're giving them a huge cushion. And so expect to see maybe an adjustment at halftime, if not now, is, you know, kind of going some man and keep a safety over top.
And it's the birthplace of what we often call bend but don't break defense as a result of what you're walking us through there. This caught, stepping out of bounds to preserve as much time as possible. And 59 seconds going to be exactly what is preserved after this catch by Demarion Lee. Think about the receivers. Little, Demarion Lee, Deshaun Medley, Isaiah Lackey, Ellis Chappell, all targeted at one time or another by Brady Stober in this first half. And the weapons abound. Second down from just behind the sticks and down inside the 10. Good luck bringing the big body of Isaiah Lackey down. He's finally to the turf at the 8-yard line. Third down coming. And the clock ticks downward from 45 seconds to play in the half.
Yeah, what Hickory's doing is they're running trips to one side and making the backside a weak side, so you have fewer defenders there, and then they're running to that side, and so it's kind of putting them on an island, but it's giving them 8-10 yards a clip, keeping them ahead of schedule.
Hickory scored in the red zone the last time around. There was a stand down here by 71st to begin the quarter. This looks very close to the first down marker on the third down play. And the clock continues to roll inside 20 seconds. They will now stop it with 16 seconds to play, as this is going to take some pretty good eyeballing from our officiating crew to determine what happened on third down. And it looks as if they're going to bring the chains out just to make sure. So it was third down. Hickory indicating again, and they were right the last time around, that their glance over there showed it as enough for a first down. Let's see as they stretch him out. And they are correct. First down Hickory. First and goal from the 4 with 16 seconds to play. So now it's more about time than it is about downs for Hickory.
That's exactly right. You want to score with just, maybe, like I said, 4 or 5 seconds on the clock. Not sure how many timeouts they have left. They may have one left, but they obviously want to get it in as quickly as they can.
And that rattled around dangerously in there, but falls harmlessly to that turf here at the home of the Tar Heels. Incomplete. I tried to force that quickly into the hands of Little, but you heard those who made the trip over from Hickory let their thoughts be known. Perhaps bullet dodged to some degree in that moment. Second down. Clock stopped with 7 seconds to play.
And that actually helped Hickory out, because if he catches that and he doesn't score, then time runs out.
Big time trouble. You're right. Throwing this one to the end zone where it is picked. Did he stay in bounds with it? They're going to say he was out when he came down. Now, Lucas is trying to sell it. Kalen Lucas, who without question caught the football.
Yeah.
The only question is whether he stayed in bounds.
Oh, it's hard to tell from this angle, JP. I don't know. We don't have instant replay in high school. Let's see. The catch is good. Oh, yeah, he's out of bounds. Great call by the official that's right on the spot.
Yeah, the official's right on top of that. An outstanding play by Lucas, but he could not tap the toes. As a result, 3 ticks remain, and Hickory is going to try to put 3 up on the board as a result. The field goal unit out, looking for what would be a 22-yard try. But flags come in just ahead of the snap.
They may call a legal substitution, but I think Hickory only has 10.
Illegal snap on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay it down.
Yeah, Hickory only had 10 men on the field.
Well, at the end of the day, you give with
not
ankle.
Hickory. Not Hickory. I'm sorry, 71st.
71st. At the end of the day here, Eric, the angle a little tough from the left hash on this occasion, and Hickory's going to have a chance to try and put 3 more up on the board with 3 seconds to play, trying to run this to an 18-13 score at the half. That's what's in mind for the Red Tornadoes.
And, it's chasing that point. But I tell you something, JP, coming into the game, we're saying it's going to be the little things that makes the difference, because these teams were so evenly matched. And we see that chasing that extra point, just some bobbling on the returns. The penalties are starting to come into play right now. Just, illegal, downfield and things like that. So it's the little things that make a big difference.
A 4th down stop on a moment just like this. Outstanding play defensively, but a couple of interceptions that just couldn't quite be secured. And now when you sort it all out, again, an angle that was tough, maybe now from an angle standpoint, even if the distance is a bit greater, a little better for Hickory, as they'll try instead a 26-yard attempt. And it is good. 3 tacked on by the Red Tornadoes on the final play of the half, as the Red Tornadoes with Braden McCourt, the special teams unit. You know, you think about the 2-point conversion that Hickory was able to secure after that touchdown, and now they turn this final drive of the half into 3. I think if you're headed to the locker room and you're wearing those Red Tornadoes colors, have to be pretty pleased with the way things are going.
For sure, JP. You're playing right into your game plan, and you have to make sure that you continue to pound the football, continue to be disciplined, stay in your lanes on defense. And if you're 71st, you got to come out thinking like, all right, we can't keep giving up these 7-8 yard little out routes. We have to make sure that we close that distance a little bit, make them beat us over top if they can. I mean, we know that Stover can throw a really good ball, but they've been in position.
Well, let's get the thoughts of Joe Glass, his Hickory Red Tornadoes in the lead at the half. Evan?
Thank you, guys. Coach, describe the impact of that last drive, able to get 3 points to end the half.
Well, it should have been 7, but you know, we're making a lot of mistakes that we don't normally make offensively. Defensively, we're not tackling very well. So we've got to play better.
You put a lot of confidence in Isaiah Lackey. 2 rushing touchdowns and that 3rd drive that came up short. What has been his impact running the football?
I mean, these big boys hard to bring down, so that helps.
Early in the second quarter, you like to go for 2 and then get the 2-point stop. How does the numbers game become a factor in the second half?
Well, I mean, you know, not being up by 5, we can get a stop and go up and put us 12, you know, and then it forces them to go 2-point conversions and things like that. So, you know, it's just a game of football. You know how it is.
Good luck in the second half, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
When we come back, we will continue our Honda Dealers halftime report. Tight battle here between 71st and Hickory. We'll continue when we come back here in Chapel Hill.
Robert, go for more.
Hey! Hurt in the car wreck? Don't go up against the insurance company alone. Let the heavy hitters do it for you. Call 800-LAW-0804, and we'll go after all the money they should be paying you. Stay out of the courtroom and get into the end zone.
Call the heavy hitters, who are attorneys Tatum and Atkinson.
Call the heavy hitters. They'll work to get you more. 1-800-LAW-0804.
How about something new? You played this last year.
Come on, get your head out of your sacks.
Shh, we're trying to hear.
Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing your kid play the wrong notes. Where's my kid solo?
At least you can see your kid. Why is my kid stuck way in the back?
The conductor only plays his favorite.
My kid heard that solo.
You saying I did?
Yeah,
Come on. What's wrong with you?
Hey everybody, this is Friday Night Rivals. I'm Nelson Weston, and like all of y'all, I'm ready for some good old-fashioned state championship high school football, baby. And who better to join us than our good friend from Ingalls Markets, Melissa Level. Melissa, are you excited about the game?
I'm excited about the game.
You're watching the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas Halftime Report.
Hey everybody, this is Friday Night Rivals. I'm Nelson Weston, and like all of y'all, I'm ready for some good old-fashioned state championship high school football, baby. And who better to join us than our good friend from Ingalls Markets, Melissa Level. Melissa, are you excited about the game?
I'm excited about the game. What a great season it's been for both of the teams, and we're going to find out who the best of the best is.
Indeed we are. Now, speaking of high school championships, can you share with us the significance of Ingalls supporting high school athletics?
Well, supporting high school athletics is part of an overall plan of supporting high school education, or education in general. Children are our future, they're our culture. We're looking forward to following them through that journey. So athletics is just a very big part of our community. People love high school football, and they love our kids. So good place for Ingalls to be.
Absolutely. And speaking of Ingalls, you and I both know that Ingalls is undoubtedly the place you want to shop for all your delicious, mouth-watering tailgating specials.
Absolutely.
What all can we expect in these specials? What kind of food are we talking about?
We can keep it simple. You can go right to the wing bar and pick up a set of wonderful wings, all sorts of different flavors, a great big salad, or you can go to the deli and get a wonderful fresh-made sub with boar's head meat, or you can just get a little creative, go back and get the best meat of town, grill up a steak, get yourself a salad from the fresh produce in the deli, and a little bit of a baked potato on the side.
A steak and a salad and a baked potato on the side, that would definitely hit the spot right about now.
Yeah, definitely, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
I'll see you there.
Of course. You and I both know that when it comes to the Tools for Schools program, it is very impactful in the community. For those who may be unfamiliar, can you share with us an overview of Tools for Schools? And more importantly, can you also share with us how does somebody get involved with it?
Tools for School is a partnership between Ingalls, our customers, and our school community. It's through the Ingalls Advantage Card. Every time you shop at Ingalls and use your Ingalls Advantage Card, if you register with the school of your choice, you are going to be donating to that school. Teachers then can buy supplies, big or small, all the way down from pencils all the way up to air conditioning systems, band uniforms, all sorts of wonderful things. It keeps the teachers' money in their own pocket and allows them to stock the school supplies with what they need.
That's terrific. Melissa, keep up the great work.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's get her done.
Let's get her done indeed. Folks, this is Friday Night Rivals. And now, time for some championship football. Let's get it.
'Twas the day before Christmas, and at the North Pole, the elves were all gleeful, mind, body, and soul. From making to baking, content as you please, when off in the distance they heard a loud sneeze.
Hello, I'm in need of normal human cold medicine.
One last stop to top off the tank, and Santa's a go, with Ingalls to thank. Merry Christmas from Ingalls.
You're watching the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas Halftime Report. You're watching the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas Halftime Report.
Commissioner Tucker, we appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
This year's seniors came into the program in 2020 when COVID started. How special does it make this year's state championship games given the uncertain start?
This certainly is a moment that they can really cherish because they started with uncertainty. Maybe they made it to that playoff, that shortened playoff season we had. Maybe they made it to that championship. But then the idea that if we continue to be a part of this program, maybe we'll get back to what is normal and we'll be able to start in August and we'll be able to get back to a state championship that is held in December. And so for some of these young people, that is actually what's happening. And so there's a sense of accomplishment, I think.
There are plenty of familiar teams in this year's championship games. What do you think makes these programs successful year in and year out?
Some of them have little league programs where their coaches are involved. Maybe they're not coaching those teams, but they have an opportunity to talk to those little people. It filters on upward into a middle school and then a junior varsity program. And if those programs are successful, then ultimately your varsity program is going to be successful. And I think that's why we see a lot of these teams showing up year after year after year playing in this final game.
What has been the biggest challenge for the association in the last year?
Well, I think there's several things. One is just the ongoing concern we have as it relates to officiating. We certainly are encouraged that we're getting new folk to go through the process, get some training, and then get out on the court, on the field, whatever the case may be. I think the other challenge that we have continued to deal with is just behavior. We took up the initiative that the National Federation put forth a year or so ago, and that is bench bad behavior. And of course, everyone knows that we have continued to deal with the legislative involvement in our association. We'll continue to try to make sure that we're providing memories that match these moments that our young people are experiencing, and that we are providing the leadership and governance for our schools that they want.
What are you most proud of accomplishing as an association in the past year?
I'm just proud of the membership. I'm proud of what they do on a daily basis and how they continue to lead and guide our young people.
Thank you for your leadership, Commissioner Tucker, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the NCHSAA and education-based athletics. So thank you for what you do to provide that platform for us.
You're watching the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas Halftime Report.
Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you.
How can someone find help if they're in crisis and need more support?
In North Carolina, we have a fantastic resource. It's 988. You can call, chat, or text 988 and talk to crisis counselors 24/7. It's anonymous. They can get you help right away or tell you about other resources in the community.
What happens when someone reaches out to the Lifeline?
So they will walk you through a series of questions just to make sure you're safe, and that they'll talk to you as long or as much as you need. We have a diverse range of crisis counselors that answer our phone. We've got special lines if you're Spanish speaking. If you identify as LGBTQ+, we have our Trevor line. We have a veterans line. We have text and chat features. We want to make sure that our line is accessible and inclusive for everyone that wants to call and wants help.
Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to add?
To talk and say, hey, I noticed you're not yourself lately and I care. It's important to recognize those signs, to talk about them out loud, and to ask. People worry that if they ask, somehow it will precipitate a mental health crisis, or it might even encourage someone to harm themselves. That's absolutely not true. We should check on each other. We care about each other. So acknowledge when you see things wrong. If you don't know how to talk, call 988. If you're a parent, if you're a friend and you don't know how to talk to your loved one, call 988 and they can give you some pointers about how to have those kind of conversations.
Well, a glance back at the first half of action, particularly some of the numbers from the first half, and I know you've had your highlighter out for some time now, Eric, kind of working through the numbers. What really jumps out at you when you look back at the first half of action?
Yeah, what jumps out is that Hickory has 250 yards of total offense, and 71st has 184 yards of total offense. But what stands out to me is that they have almost double the amount of plays that 71st has. Hickory does, right? They have 45 plays for 250 yards. And so I'm looking at that, and they're just showing the efficiency of, getting those little 8, 5, 10-yard outs and stepping out of bounds where it stops the clock, but they still have possession of the football. And so it's going to be, having to make those adjustments for 71st to try and take away some of those stops.
Well, we'll give you a look at some of those numbers here in just a bit, but well, there they are. We'll look at some of the first half numbers for you that Eric was just walking you through. Wonder how much those numbers will change in the moments that lie ahead. Well, one of the joys of these state championship environments, certainly visiting with both coaches, getting their thoughts in and out of the locker room. And to that end, Evan is now standing by with Coach McLaurin.
Thank you so much, guys. An explosive first half running the football for DeAndre Nance. How does his running ability fuel your offense?
He's been doing that all year. He does a good job of putting the ball when he needs to, reading our RPO game when he needs to. DeAndre is an excellent athlete. He's doing a good job tonight. They're giving us some things. We just got to do a better job in the second half of taking advantage of his abilities.
From a special team standpoint, a couple of botched kick returns. How do you hope to clean up that unit in the second half?
No, we just got to do better, man. We practice that stuff, man. Guys got to get the jitters out, man, and just take care of business.
Down 5 here at halftime. What's a key adjustment you made to your team at halftime?
Yeah, just got to walk down a little bit on them guys, get our hands on the receivers and stuff, get them out of their comfort zone in first and second down, get them in some third and longer than 4 or 5 situations to see what happens.
Coach, good luck in the second half.
All right, thank you.
Guys, back to you.
He understands that he played there, wore those colors. It was his first job out of college. No doubt where he wanted to be, coming back, leading 71st back, and it was clear what he said he wanted to see from the Falcons in the second half, Eric.
Yeah, he was talking about just kind of closing the gap on those receivers a little bit. Like I said, they're giving like an 8-10 yard cushion, so all Stover's doing is just raising up, throwing it out to them, and it keeps them ahead of schedule. And so coach is like, yeah, we need to get them down a little bit. And what I absolutely love about it, he talks about his quarterback not getting rattled. He didn't seem rattled. He's like, yeah, man, almost like we've been here before. We got this.
A lot of football left. Yeah. Let's take a look back at some of the images from the football already played in this 3A championship game. Hickory good in all facets on that extended opening drive, which set the tone.
Yeah, you're going to get tired of hitting that big fella downhill. And here we have Nance rolling out that little play action, and it keeps the linebackers honest, and he gets into that end zone. And I think we're going to see a little bit more of that play action. Once again, There's Hickory with the bully ball again.
That was Isaiah Lackey. He touched the ball 17 times for 57 yards in the first half. He talked about his quarterback. How about the play of DeAndre Nance?
Yeah, DeAndre Nance, once again, he doesn't get rattled. This young man has stayed true and steady. He's running and throwing the ball as he tries to march his team down the field to even the score up.
The playmakers will be the playmakers in a state championship environment. What does the second half hold? We will find out. 3A title game continues in a moment. Our broadcast presented by Tatum and Atkinson rolls on right after the break.
When it comes to delivering high quality, affordable health care, relationships matter. And after 90 years, Blue Cross North Carolina is proud of the relationships we've built with you. We're 5,000 neighbors, friends, and family committed to improving the health and well-being of everyone across this state. We're here for you, all of you.
Furniture shopping can be intimidating.
At Meg Brown Home Furnishings, our designers are ready to help you create a room that fits your taste and lifestyle.
Do you have questions about the best layout or design for your space?
Let us help you create your fresh new look.
Come visit our 15,000 square foot store and outlet for the best name brands in furniture.
Our team of experienced designers is ready to assist you with all your furniture needs. Come see us at Meg Brown Home Furnishings, just off I-40 in Bermuda Run.
Hickory Red Tornadoes squad looking for a first title since 1996 and a second all-time, carrying an 18-13 lead into the second half as we welcome you back to Kenan Stadium on the campus of the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, site of the 3A North Carolina High School Athletic Association Championship game. Our broadcast presented by Tatum and Atkinson. Second half kickoff. This going to hop over the head of the return man, but a nice recovery for 71st on what is a key drive coming up for the Falcons to open the half, Eric.
Yeah, that was well played. You know, once again, they're saying you're not going to hurt us on the returns in the special teams, so we have to stay sound with it, and that's exactly what happened right there. That football takes some funny bounces. You know, basketball is going to be true. It's going to bounce straight, but that little oblong-looking thing, man, it takes some crazy bounces, and 71st dodged the bullet right there and able to recover that deep in their own territory, but they've proven that they can you know, take it the length of the field.
Cool, calm, collected leader DeAndre Nance back out there at the quarterback position for 71st. Key drive because of the 5-point deficit heading into this, and a Hickory team that has made the most of nearly every opportunity that they've touched the football. When you think about how often the 71st team was knocking on the door, 6 seasons, 10 or more wins under Coach McLaurin. The last 3 years rolling up 40-plus victories. An unbeaten season for 71st this time around, but a half away from crowning the 3A champ. And the first moment defensively of this second half belonging to Tristan Williams of the Hickory Red Tornadoes. Team that, you know, you come out of the locker room a half away from a title with the lead, Eric.
Yeah.
What's the mindset for Hickory?
Well, Hickory's got to say, we got to stay the course. You know, just keep doing what they've been doing. They've, you know, I'm not going to say they shut 71st down, but they've handled the run pretty well, just like we saw right there. It was for no gain. But they're going to have to take some chances, I think, here to maybe go man-to-man and bring an extra guy down in the box to try and stifle that run. But, yeah, 71st is going to have to score here.
Well, Nance going to keep it himself. He's up across the 15 to the 17. A key third down coming on this opening drive. Nance has carried the ball 11 times, just under 100 yards to his credit. And he has completed one pass in a couple of tries. That's the story of this night for the dual threat quarterback of the Falcons. But he and his crew facing a third down from deep in their own territory at the 17-yard line.
Yep, here we go. Chasing that point, right? I keep going back to that because it's proven to be pivotal. I know it's in their mind, but they have to establish, you know, a solid drive here. You have to got to get points on this drive coming out of halftime.
I was looking to pass that time, but flags fly before he can. Remember, talking about a player that completed all 7 of his passes for 112 yards last week. Here's the call.
False start, offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
We talked about all the touchdowns, but 7 for 7 for 112 and the 17 rushes for 121 yards. The 6 total touchdowns, mixing in the 2-point conversion as well. Those are the overall numbers. Even though we've talked to you about the touchdowns along the way, that was the complete performance. They'll need that same type of second half performance from DeAndre Nance if 71st is to battle from behind. And it starts right here. It's going to be a little tougher now at 3rd and 10 on the opening drive of the half. And there's a completion up near midfield after the passing play of the night for 71st. How about this? Talked about how he was perfect in that department a week ago. And he gets the connection of the night. Walk us through it, Eric.
Yeah, it shows, you know, he's got some poise as well. He puts it right on the numbers, right in stride. That was a great throw, great catch. Because, see, the first half, he's just been pounding, running the Q keeper, the Q ISO, and now he's standing in the pocket saying, hey, I can throw that ball as well.
Jitavius Whitted, what a difference maker he has proven to be in this program. In conjunction with Nance, the relationship that the juniors share, they come together to keep this third quarter drive alive. And now back into the hands of Frederick one more time as it's carried down near the 40-yard line. And with 9:30 and ticking downward in the early stages of this third quarter, Evan, those two, quite the combo on the 71st side of things.
Nance and Jai Whitted, they were best friends since being 5 years old. Every day after practice, those two run extra routes together. And talking to this coaching staff this week, he said DeAndre's confidence actually rides from Ty. The better those two play together, the more confidence he has throwing the football. And that was a huge conversion for the 71st offense.
Yeah, those two working together one more time, as they have for a lifetime, in a key state championship environment. And how about the wheels on display here? Nance moves out of trouble and finds some space down the far side to take it home. The touchdown run to send the message in the third quarter that 71st will not go quietly in this state championship football game.
As advertised, he, you know, with just one pass, he flipped the field and then he used his legs to go ahead and get the go-ahead score against the Hickory Red Tornadoes. And that was a great play. JP, it could be a candidate for play of the game right there.
Yeah, you take a look at this, the latest of the Meg Brown home furnishing touchdowns. No doubt a candidate for the Carolina Carport play of the game. And you know what's going to happen now. 2-point conversion try. As working it down near the goal line, but it looks as if this is going to be stopped just short. And the 2-point try will be turned away. But the touchdown drive enough to forge the Falcons of 71st ahead. You mentioned the potential play of the game here. A lot of football left, but this one certainly serves the purpose for a high-flying Falcons
It
squad.
certainly does, and we'll log that one in, you know, in the catalog of plays. But that's great, well done, well blocked Great score for 71st.
Well, a beautiful night in Chapel Hill and a football game to match it. 71st pushing just out front now by a single point after their opening drive of the second half. They see the banners as they move around the stadium there in Fayetteville. And the challenge from the coaching staff, don't just be another guy who comes through this program, make your mark. Nance certainly did with that 38-yard run. And now here's the return for Hickory up to the 39-yard line. So a 38-yard touchdown run that caps a 5-play, 88-yard drive. And in just over 3 minutes, Eric, the Falcons sent a message coming out of the locker room.
Just like that. And I wanted to highlight as well just the unselfish play and the blocking of the receivers. That made that touchdown run possible. I mean, they're blocking downfield, and that's what the awesome thing is about championship football. It doesn't matter who gets the credit. We're all one team, the same name across the front of that jersey, and everybody's doing their part.
Nance has tossed a touchdown, rushed for a couple more. And speaking of key tosses, this is caught up near the sticks and like the intended target little this time around. That's going to make it second down and about 1. Here's the zip on the fastball from Brady Stover, you might say. You have been impressed with his accuracy tonight.
Yeah, accuracy. I mean, he throws a really good ball, is very catchable, and great defense right there by 71st. First play for a loss in a while for Hickory right there, but that was a great pursuit. And the interesting thing is when you're playing a team with such team speed, it's like both of these teams have great team speed. Running sideline to sideline is going to be hard pressed to do. You have to run directly at them.
Another key senior stepping up in Xavion Hill, part of that next man up mentality that has been the mantra of this 71st Falcons squad all season long. Known for one of those shutouts this season that Eric was telling you about, that defense trying to stand tall here. And there is a timely arrival. And here's a little something different for you, Eric. Anthony Bethea able to arrive on the scene. The DB taking away that cushion perhaps we had seen at times in that first half. It was the challenge. You heard it out of the mouth of Coach McLaurin, and you can see the adjustment already made by the Falcons.
Absolutely. There you go, JP. Because, you know, the first half, 8-10-yard cushion, that would have been an easy completion. He may have still been running. But, yeah, that adjustment at halftime is saying we're going to have to take away those quick slants, those stops, and make them beat us in another way.
4th down from the 45, and it's going to be punched in the air as the punt will take a major Hickory bounce and roll all the way down inside the 10-yard line. Going to finally be blown dead at the 6-yard line. Boy, the punt works to perfection there. Well handled.
Looks like we have a flag.
We're going to see if this sticks. You're right. You look up and the officials gathering together one more time over top of a flag after what was one of the field position moments of the night for Hickory. The flag is at the 35 on the far side in front of that 71st Falcons sideline.
Not sure if that's going to be maybe a holding, or I wasn't really paying attention. Just like everyone else, you kind of follow the ball and what's going on around it. But they're deep discussion, it seems, over there.
Yeah, this is a lengthy discussion, and you're right. With a punt that solid, you're watching to see just how far it rolls, and this is way away from the ultimate end of that play. And as we await word from our officiating crew. Williams, who had a 49-yarder to his credit, and is inside the 20 again, pending the flag. Here's the call.
We have blocking in the back on the receiving team. Half the distance to go. First down.
His stellar punt will stand. And they will back 71st up just a little bit more. Falcons going to be in the shadow of their own goal line to begin this drive.
Whew. Wow. Yeah, that's makes for a long offensive campaign, but you know, they've proven that they could do it before, JP. And once again, having a quarterback like Nance that does not get rattled, you love having a signal caller that he's standing in his own end zone right now. And so we'll see how he handles this coming out, the junior quarterback.
Standing on his own end zone. And that Carolina logo in it. And as the pile pushes up around the 8-yard line where he will take the football. You think about the history of both of these programs. We talked a little bit earlier in the game about how, you know, the previous last thing you want to see here. Look who's limping off to the far side. And Nance is not going to make it all the way across as he hits the turf at around the 15-yard line. And that is the last thing you want to see if you're wearing Falcons colors.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be huge right there, JP. Yeah, with over 3,000 yards in total offense. Yeah, we pray the young man's okay.
Yeah, just when DeAndre Nance gets this team clicking, he is being tended to on the far side. We'll break away, hopefully come back with some very positive news related to DeAndre Nance.
Don't pay those high credit card rates for your holiday gifts. Dazzle her with diamonds and pay no interest for up to 24 months on your purchase at Windsor Jewelers. Saturday, December 9th, shop interest-free on all in-stock loose diamonds and diamond jewelry. Only at Windsor Jewelers.
From coast to coast, from the Great Lakes to the Gulf, at Spectrum Reach, we make local businesses big and big brands look local. We help businesses grow with the best content, insights, products, and people. We are proud to partner with businesses in your neighborhood, like this one.
Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue. Break away from the everyday to Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue.
Welcome to Spectrum Reach. Let us show you around the neighborhood.
Don't pay those high credit card rates for your holiday gifts. Dazzle her with diamonds and pay no interest for up to 24 months on your purchase at Windsor Jewelers. Saturday, December 9th, shop interest-free on all in-stock loose diamonds and diamond jewelry. Only at Windsor Jewelers.
Well, you see the removal of DeAndre Nance kind of hobbling off to the far side. Evan's right on top of it. What'd you see there, Evan?
DeAndre Nance is out with what they're calling cramps at the moment. He's going to be treated by the athletic training staff. Knew it right away as he went down on the ground and immediately grabbed his calf. They're going to evaluate him and hope to bring him back in throughout this game.
Thanks so much, Evan. You never like to speculate, Eric, but that's what we both kind of immediately thought just from where he was reaching and how quickly he went down, and you hope it's something that simple that will allow him to return fairly quickly. Thanks again, Evan. Isaiah Kirby and company now to work for the 71st Falcons. It comes at a time where this team on precarious footing to some degree field position-wise. Yeah. That's because of a good punt from Hickory. But this is a team leading the football game now, trying to follow up that most recent scoring drive. And Isaiah Kirby, he's one of the leaders, one of the seniors, as he takes the reins momentarily, at least, for this Falcons squad.
Yeah, and it's next man up, right? This is maybe the biggest moment in these young men's lives, and it's about stepping up, and when your opportunity comes, maximize it.
Yeah, talk about maximizing this run. Boy, just plenty of it right there as it continued to move forward. Just another tremendous moment for who else but Frederick, who continues to get his name called. But a lot of eyes right now on the new QB, Isaiah Kirby, for a little more on him. Let's go back down and check in with Evan.
This coaching staff loves the maturity of Isaiah Kirby. 2 years ago, he was the starting quarterback and was asked to play receiver. He's taken on that role quite well. He's actually a baseball player and has a tremendous arm. But on the football field, they love his vision. So now in the biggest moment, he comes in at wide receiver and will look to step up with his quarterback down, guys.
And what did Coach tell us, Eric, is he is covered up in a big-time defensive play is in there to disrupt and make the stop as Von Gwynn. Yeah, Coach talked about Isaiah Kirby and the way he handled that. He said not a lot of guys are able to handle that with the type of maturity of moving from one role to the other, but he just wanted to be a help to the team in whatever way he could. He's an example to the community, an example to the sport in many ways of the way you embrace whatever role you're given to help your team. And in these moments, back in a spot now where he has to provide the calm at that quarterback position.
Yeah, it's being unselfish and just, you know, making sure the team is bigger than you and putting the team before you. And just make sure that, you know, you're going to do what's best for the whole team.
Well, still moving up across the 40 to the 41-yard line is Franklin. Jason Franklin going to move the chains as an NC 5-2-9 first down is in effect up near midfield.
Yeah, and here we go. That's just power. Once again, they outnumber you at the point of attack. In other words, they're going to block down with that guard and tackle play side and pull the backside guard tackle around and just outnumber you there. So that's a great run, great play design for 71st, and they're moving the ball once again, JP.
Well, and Hickory seeing something that has them call for the timeout here. It comes with 4:50 remaining in the third quarter. 71st driving down and taking the lead on their first touch of the third period, and now though they lost DeAndre Nance momentarily, back on the move again under the direction of Kirby. Tremendous moment for Donovan Frederick. And you know, you think about Donovan Frederick, 11 carries, 82 yards. Nance already 14 carries, 142 yards. 8 touches for Franklin, who just rushed it up here near midfield. I mean, there are so many different players who are making their mark on this state championship environment for the Falcons. And yes, we do have to select one player of the game. Brought to you by Tatum and Atkinson before all is said and done. There are a lot of heavy hitters, certainly, for candidates for the Tatum and Atkinson player of the game. Also, we'll have the play of the game, the Carolina Carport play of the game. Carolina Carport quality is our first priority. That one coming up for you before the 3A championship concludes as well. First down play. Going to be another dose of Frederick and another first down. And he is still up inside the 35-yard line. The pile going with him. Donovan Frederick, the junior running back. And he moves the chains with force.
JP, let me tell you something. Right at the end of that play, I only saw 2 Hickory players that was not left in his wake. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, the majority of the team is there, and this young man is still going. You know, and that speaks to the testament of both these head coaches. They have this team, their teams prepared. Kirby comes in, and they don't miss a beat. They don't miss a beat. They're marching the ball down the field, and it's just next man up mentality, and they're doing a great job.
So often when you handle the moment and your role, whatever it might be, well, it finds you again. It has for Kirby here. He's been impressive. Much of the lifting on this drive done to this point by Donovan Frederick. We're being introduced to so many new playmakers. Evan, tell us a little more about Donovan Frederick.
Donovan Frederick's a two-sport extraordinaire. He's actually a wrestler at 71st High School. Finished top 6 in the state last year in his weight class. Now, his mom's a teacher in the school district, so she keeps him hard in the classroom. But in the weight room, he's physical, a great wrestler, and we're seeing him run the rock today, guys. Such an impact player.
See, you don't have to work hard to convince us when we see his good work at the bottom of the pile like that. Thanks, Evan. Here is Franklin, far side, and he's beyond the sticks. A methodical drive that continues in impressive fashion for the Falcons here with another NC 5-2-9 first down.
Let the players play, JP. You know, and they get the composure 71st does from their head coach. After halftime, he says, we got this. We're just gonna do what we do. And you see that composure stepping right up as Kirby's coming in. They hadn't missed a beat. You see Frederick. It's fantastic to watch a well-coached team, like I said, on both sides of the football, playing the game at its highest level.
What did Coach McLaurin tell us when he got the call? He was at E.E. Smith in 2012, got the call to return to his alma mater. He said it was too nostalgic to pass up. how nostalgic is this?
Yeah, that's
Flag
nice.
on the play as his team is on the march one more time. And we'll see how they sort this out at down around the 20-yard line.
Yeah, that's usually in the holding vicinity there.
Going to back 71st up.
We have holding
Call.
on the offense. 10-yard penalty from previous spot. Still repeat, it's first down.
You know, you think about the history of the 71st program, Eric. You can't do it without thinking about Coach Paroli, who he credits with helping set the table. Think about so many who've left their legacy with these programs. We talked about it a little bit earlier on both sides. The coaches that have laid the foundations, provided those prior championship moments. And then you have guys who are exactly where they want to be in terms of their coaching stops. And at the alma mater, watching his team go back to work is Coach McLaurin. And this is stacked up just above the ACC logo as they make it inside the 30. How important is it for 71st to cap this drive with some type of points here, Eric?
Oh, yeah, they have to get it, JP. And so here we see the power once again. And what you want to do from a defensive perspective, if they're running the power, they want to get as north-south as quickly as they can. So you want to try and make it bounce outside. And that Hickory defense did an outstanding job with that and let your pursuit get there, flowing from inside out. Those inside linebackers and DBs can come down and make that tackle. And so, but yeah, for 71st, JP, they, you know, it's imperative that they get a touchdown here to try and stretch that lead out. So now Hickory will be the one chasing that point.
Well, you got to love the forward-thinking nature of these coaches. The second down play, right into traffic. Everything gets crowded between the hashes, and third is coming from behind the sticks. But, you know, Hickory, we heard it from Coach Glass going into the intermission. He said, we kicked that field goal thinking about what could happen in the third quarter. They ran the two-point conversion play, thinking about the pressure that puts on this team moving forward. 71st on that kind of drive now. Coach McLaurin and his staff thinking about what this play call here on 3rd and 13 is going to mean toward a state championship moment, perhaps. And guess who is back in the mix? Quarterback DeAndre Nance returns for the 3rd and 13.
And look at that.
Over the top and in and out of the grasp of the defensive back for Hickory, incomplete. Saw the reaction of Will Prince, which tells you everything you need to know. Well, try a wrinkle when you bring the QB back in, right?
And another missed opportunity once again, JP. If you notice, they ran that off that play action power. They pulled that backside guard to emulate it was going to be a run and tried to slip that tight end right down the middle.
Down in the direction of Xavion Hill, but again, a little bit too much air underneath it. And it is incomplete. Hickory now holding to the tune of a 4th down forced from behind the sticks here. Just kind of finishing up on the journey for Coach McLaurin that we were discussing there as he's made his way back to his alma mater. Had one of the great quotes, I think, when he talked about the environment that you enter when the expectations are high. He said you have to embrace the success, thus the banners on the fence, right, that he forces them by on a daily basis to talk about not just being another person rolling through this program, but being a person that contributes in a major way to the program. He said you have to embrace the success, but not be a prisoner to it. I thought that was a great quote in terms of be who you are, fulfill your role. That's been the challenge to his team, but also make your mark. Don't just be another one who came through the door. Demarion Lee on the other side of things has been anything but that. And you want to check on his status for sure because he hobbles off as one of the key contributors for Hickory. We hope he's able to return certainly as quickly as DeAndre Nance was. And here is the 4th down play. Looking to toss it again. Now rolling out to try and find some room and under duress. And this is batted down and incomplete. A turnover on downs. It's the moment for the Hickory defense that the Red Tornadoes have been looking for.
You know what? And this will go unnoticed. This will go maybe as a pass breakup or something like that. But number one for Hickory there, Will Prince, instead of catching that and trying to pad his stats, and I have an interception, he bats the ball down, right? And what that means is they're going to have better field position because he batted the ball down instead of pinning his team back, you know, deep in the red zone. That was a heads-up play by that young man.
That's an outstanding point. So often the instincts take over of just try to grab hold of the football. He understood field position, and as a result, the ball is placed at the 24-yard line as Hickory takes over. Who else? Right back in the grasp of Isaiah Lackey, who has the 2 rushing touchdowns in this matchup for Hickory thus far. Lackey 17 carries, 57 yards prior to the start of this drive.
And if you notice, JP, look at the DBs for 71st. They're now within a couple of yards of the receivers for Hickory. And I just noticed up top with Drummond on that last play, he started out face guard and then he backed up as the ball's about to snap, like we see here, given that read of I'm in his face, but then they're really falling back in the zone.
Down the line and the toss to Lackey, but everybody honoring him, and only a handful of yards there. So 3rd down is coming inside the final minute of a quickly passing 3rd quarter.
It is flying by. That's what happens when you run the ball. You know, you don't pass as much, the ball doesn't hit the ground, and the clock keeps on ticking.
See the 20th carry now behind Isaiah Lackey with those 2 touchdowns tonight. Try to use the ground game to get up near the sticks, but it appears as if this is going to be shy, and 4th down is coming as the final seconds tick off that 3rd quarter game clock. It appears as if the balance of this drive is going to be settled in the 4th and final quarter, as 71st out of the East and Hickory out of the West look to settle the 3A championship on the other side of the break.
Robert, go for more.
Hey! Hurt in a car wreck? Don't go up against the insurance company alone. Let the heavy hitters do it for you. Call 800-LAW-0804 and we'll go after all the money they should be paying you. Stay out of the courtroom and get into the end zone.
Call the heavy hitters, who are attorneys Tatum and Atkinson.
Call the heavy hitters, they'll work to get you more. 1-800-LAW-0804.
Teens are under a lot of pressure, especially when it comes to underage drinking. They may not say a word, but as a parent, you can see the signs. We can help you help your teen. Go to talkitoutnc.org. Get great ideas on how to start the conversation about alcohol. So, talk to your teen about drinking. You might be surprised at their reaction.
Well, a couple of coaches who coached against one another in the East-West game, now battling it out in the state championship game. And 4th down is the order of the moment. Hickory lining up to go for it. And the latest chess match moment goes to the Red Tornadoes, who move the chains. That is a Key Hardy's 1st down to begin the 4th quarter.
You know, this is kind of looking like the Philadelphia Eagles, what they call it, brotherly shove. You know what I mean? That it was almost automatic. You're going to get 3 or 4 yards. I mean, it's hard to stop that because that young man is a load. And this is the 4th quarter. I'm going to tell you something. You get tired of hitting somebody that big.
I can tell you what they call that in Hickory is this is going to be tucked in good for about 4 or 5, maybe a little more as he lunged forward on that carry is Brady Stober. They call that eating off the floor. This is a team that started the year. We asked about the mantra for this Hickory team. Said, well, it started with, you know, our team verse was Isaiah 6:8. Our mindset was send me. I'm going to embrace the moment, as Brady Stober does here. Then about halfway through the year, Coach Glass said, we saw maybe some, and these are his words, not ours, got a pretty boy stuff here and there. And he said, we brought him in and challenged him to eat off the floor. He said, if you're going to be a champion, at times you're going to have to eat off the floor. And that was one of those moments, that fourth down call, where they did just that, embracing that mantra of doing whatever must be done to will themselves further in the championship.
I love it. Eat off the floor, yeah. It's a mentality is what it is, right? And it's just saying, look, here's our best. Give us your best and see if you can stop it. And I love that mentality. Eating off the floor is like, you know, come what may, we're going to get this thing done.
He said, I'm not a rear view mirror guy. I don't remember much. We asked him even about the one-point game to will their way here. He said, not a rearview mirror guy. We're focusing on what's in front. What's in front right now, long toss, and it is caught. Big-time adjustment as Little is going to be marked down inside the 20. Ball came surging loose, but it was well after the play, and this is one of those front windshield moments that takes the rear view and sets it aside. Big-time first down coming, and it's inside the talk it out NC red zone. How about this?
Yeah, you see him taking some shots downfield, and that was great adjustment. But you see Drummond coming back and getting the strip. I guess he was down. At least that's what they're calling. Yeah, he was down before he stripped it. But I tell you something, that was a great throw and catch. You know, taking some chances on the long shot, but on the long ball. But yeah, good recovery by Drummond. And, you know, as that field shrinks, you get inside the red zone, it's going to become harder and harder to penetrate that end zone.
Well, they're going to check on Little. That, by the way, was his 9th catch for 133 yards for Jamian Little, who is up and under his own power, will be greeted by the Hickory Red Tornadoes faithful. I'll say it one more time. 9 catches tonight, 133 yards. He is the leading receiver in the state championship football game right now.
And you know what? He's just a junior, JP. That's pretty impressive. So is Stober, and so is Medley there. So they got some youth out there that's really showing up in the big game.
What you're telling me is that Coach Joe Glass's team isn't going anywhere for a while?
That's right.
Now, trying to turn it into a state championship moment here in the fourth quarter as they battle from behind, down a point, but with the football and surging inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. By the way, it's worth mentioning that 5 different players have caught a pass. 4 different players have rushed the football at least once on the Hickory side of things. So it has been a full stable of weapons for this Hickory squad.
Yeah, and you know, they're spreading the ball around, and Stover does a really good job of spreading them out. And so we see now, if we're looking at the game, look at that right cornerback up there. He's face guarding right now. He's on an island by himself out there by the numbers, and so he's getting in his face and making sure that Stover's going to have to throw the ball over top of him instead of giving that 8-10-yard cushion.
Going to be another handoff to Isaiah Lackey, 22 carries. He's up over 70 yards on the ground again, has the 2 touchdowns. Both of those touchdowns of the rushing variety for 34 tonight. And of course, a field goal to go with it, the 2-point conversion that was carried out by Tyler Johnson. That's how the 18 are racked up by a Hickory squad looking to battle from behind here. Guess who?
Yeah.
Direct snap it, Wildcat formation. Going to use that big body to keep dragging him all the way in for his 3rd rushing touchdown of the night. Isaiah Lackey refused to be denied and to go back to the Isaiah 6'8" mantra that this team built its foundation on. He said, send me.
Send me. I'm eating off the floor. I'm eating wherever I can. The big fella is bumbling, stumbling, man, into the end zone. You talk about yards after contact, JP. I don't know if all 11 members of the 71st team touched him that time. That was a great run.
24-19 now is the Hickory lead. As you might have guessed, this team ready to roll the dice one more time for the 2-point conversion, and in this case, it's a big one. An effort to take this thing to 7. And a man back in the end zone, and that is caught by Demarion Lee. He left for an instant. May have been cramping up a bit himself a little while ago. but he's back when it matters for Hickory. The two-point conversion is good, and the lead is 7 for the Red Tornadoes in the fourth.
Marketing special promotions on the concourse today, and get your official 2023 Football State Championship merchandise. They're on sale now.
Well, a look at the scoring drive brought to you by Windsor Jewelers. Double-digit plays. Isaiah Lackey at the end of things with the "I will not be denied" run. Just a tremendous effort by Lackey. And then, of course, the two-point try, which we'll take another look at after the ensuing kickoff here, which made it a 7-point lead for Hickory. This is dribbled down the middle of the field. Going to be corralled there by Frederick, and he's going to make something out of this. Comes up across the 45, is across midfield, and to the 45 on the other side, and you can go ahead and get ready for a heavyweight fight between these two. And one of the reasons we're calling them heavyweights, take a look at this toss.
Yeah.
Well, here's the touchdown run.
This is the heavyweight. He's taking those blows. Look at that. He's carrying two, defenders into the end zone right here. And you hit it on the head, JP. This is a heavyweight title bout fight. This is Mike Tyson versus Godzilla. I don't know, but it's crazy how these teams are playing right now. But with the replay, I hope we get a chance to look at it. It looks like that Stover was rolling to his left and threw it back to his right, which is a no-no at any level, but the arm strength did it.
And if you can get the job done, they say yes, yes at the end of the day, right?
Indeed.
But he ends up with that toss, making it a 7-point game. 71st looking to answer now, trying to take a title back to the 9-1-0. That was a challenge, right? One of the things we heard from the coaching staff from 71st that, it's not just their school, but all the schools in their area, even some of the rivals. He said, we fight so hard against one another all year long, and yet they've been saying to us, bring a championship, bring it back to the Ville, represent the 9-1-0. Get the job done for all of us, and all eyes from that part of the state right now on this group as they go back to work inside of 8 minutes to play. And this is caught, regardless of the roll. Isaiah Kirby giving his best. Now there are flags down inside the 40, and this is going to be against the Falcons. Looks like it's coming back.
Yeah, it does. Not sure what it is. Could be an eligible receiver downfield again. Not too sure, but there were 2 flags that were dropped. But yeah, that's awesome. Rally around the 9-1-0. These kids are playing hard.
Yeah, well, when your conference is coming together and say, hey, go win one for us.
We have ineligible downfield on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
So it is, in fact, a penalty against 71st on this occasion for the ineligible. Takes it right back and places it on that Tar Heel logo at the 46-yard line. But speaks to what football means in that region of the state and in that community when those rival schools come together and say, well, whether it be an email or a phone call or some type of visual display of support, we're with you. Go represent our conference, go represent our region very well. Well, safe to say, 71st has done that and then some in the 3A title game. And here is Nance across the 45. He's inside it down to the 43. Boy, it's coming down toward crunch time. 7:22 to go in a state championship game. These two schools separated by just a single score, and neither of them a blemish on the year. Two 15-0 squads settling between themselves.
Yeah, and like we're saying at the onset of the game, JP, two evenly matched teams. It's going to come down to the little things, whether it be the 1 point that they're chasing on special teams. You know, both teams have missed some interceptions and some big plays, but it's you know, true to form.
Third down, a scenario in which the Falcons are 3 of 6 tonight. And timeout is going to be called for with 6:46 to play. There may be a few empty seats here and there in Kenan Stadium tonight, but the presence of both these fan bases certainly being heard. And we'll break away, come back with the balance of the 3A state championship game, brought to you by Tatum and Atkinson, the heavy hitters. '71st Falcons squad loaded with college-level talent, trying to take a championship back home, facing a third down with a deficit of 7, ball near midfield. They need the 35-yard line to the Falcons to move the chains. And Nance going to go to the air and staying on his feet and lunging forward to get the job done is Donovan Frederick. His effort after the catch as solid as Nance's toss his direction. You can move the chains with a Hardy's first down for 71st.
Yeah, that was a pretty good scheme, JP. They had everybody like wide out over here to the left. They had them stacked. So you're going to have to bring a man and a half over to cover that, and had the wide side of the field wide open to make that completion. That was a good play.
Again, 4th third down conversion of the night, as they have been efficient in that department. First down coming from the 32. Rushing it near side is Franklin. And down the line, this defensive group for Hickory goes with him. So limited yardage on this occasion. It's going to be second down and about 8. Well, when these two teams scored on their opening possessions, they gave you a window into who's going to have the ball last being critical tonight, and it sure is playing out that way right now.
It certainly is, JP, and we said that early on in in the game, and because I mean the defenses are playing well, but it's just like they're wearing down on them. You know what I mean? And play after play and run after run, and these big linemen up front. What I find interesting is 71st they flip their tackles, right? You know, to which one's going to pull. And I find that very interesting, that but they've been very effective with it.
Another third down coming. Well, you say that. The pile's still moving things all the way to the 23, and it's going to be third and about 1 once this sorts itself out. Yeah, both teams scored on the opening drive, but that ate up almost the entire first quarter. And that's why you see the few possessions these teams have had along the way. The score still in the 20s and the teens on this occasion. Boy, Lee looked a little shaken up again there. He's, remember, been a factor both offensively as well as on the other side of the ball, part of that Iron Man grouping tonight. Hickory's crew, aside from that, trying to tighten up on the third down. Can the Falcons convert another? The answer to that question, a resounding yes. Right up the gut with it is Donovan Frederick again. Move the chains. That is a Hardy's goodness in the making. First down for the Falcons.
Yeah, that's just straight ahead power. That's saying, hey, we need to score. We are going to put our bigs on your bigs, and we're going to dominate and reestablish that line of scrimmage. And that's exactly what 71st is doing on this drive right now. The big fellas up front are leaning on that D-line and getting to the second level of those linebackers and giving them, at least 3 or 4 yards before you even get contact.
Nance across the 15 to the 14-yard line. What a key talk-it-out NC red zone opportunity this is for 71st. Talk It Out NC, sponsor of our red zone throughout the night tonight, throughout this championship weekend, reminding you to start the conversation, stop underage drinking. That's Talk It Out NC. And what a red zone moment as the clock is now well inside of 5 minutes to play for a couple of 15-0 state championship combatants in the 3A ranks. Nance, who tonight has rushed for 149 and a couple of touchdowns, completed 3 passes, has a touchdown in that department as well. And he'll give this off down to the 10. And guess what's coming? Another third down.
Exactly. And JP, I wanted to point something out too. If you look at those linemen up front on both sides of the ball, their hands are kind of akimbo on their sides. This is where all that running, all that conditioning, all those weightlifting, this is where it comes into play. With 3 minutes and 35 seconds to go in the state championship on the 4th quarter, and you have to score. And if you're Hickory, you have to stop it.
Can you dig deep one more time? Here's a third down, already converting a couple. And they go back to a familiar location in Donovan Frederick. And it looks like he set up a 1st and goal. Just eyeballing it from where this has been spotted. Frederick carrying it for the 15th time tonight. He's one of a couple of 100-plus yard rushers alongside Nance, and he does have a fresh set of downs in effect inside the 7-yard line. And this play going to be snapped likely inside of 3 minutes to go in a 7-point game.
This is the area of one more. Can you get one more rep, one more sprint, one more revolution? Can you do it right here, right now is the time.
Nance under pressure, just enough time to dump it off for the touchdown. How about this? Just kind of walking off after delivering the football to Jaden Surgeon for the Meg Brown Home Furnishings touchdown with 2:42 to play. And in what is now a 1-point game, the kicking unit is on with Devlin Coleman needing to connect on this extra point to tie the game at 26 apiece.
Biggest extra point of the season.
And he is true. A brand new ball game with 2:42 to play after a gutsy drive from the Falcons of 71st. Boy, they showed that battle-tested will and mind that you only get from a group of kids from the Fayetteville area.
And once again, JP, it comes off that play action with that quarterback power where they pull that play side, guard and tackle to fake like they're going, and he rolls out the naked boot backside and gets the touchdown right there.
He was under duress as the pressure was there from Tristan Williams, who has been in the backfield from time to time tonight, but finds Jaden Surgeon, the junior. And it is 26 all with 2:42 to play. Safe to say, representing the 910, representing the Ville very well tonight, these Falcons. 71st back on even footing with under 3 to play.
And we're back where we started, JP. Even. Both teams are even, and we called it in saying that these teams are so evenly matched. And right now, we also said at the beginning of the game, whoever has the ball last could possibly win it. So we're going to see right now with Hickory getting it with 2 minutes and 42 seconds to play.
Looking for a first title since 2008. 5th appearance in what is the final game of the season that culminates in some type of championship. And this is a Falcons team that when they're in those, they don't lose. 3-0 and the one tie, of course, back in '84 against Page. But a team that has relished these moments for Hickory. The one title in '96, looking for another here to honor their coach, Dave Elder. He's certainly been on the minds and in the hearts of so many. from that Hickory community on a night like this. And now that Red Tornadoes offense set to trot back out onto the field with 2:37 to play and the game on the line.
Well, with an offense like this, a spread with a quarterback with an arm like that, you know, what's 60 yards, right? But you have to go through the 71st Falcons in order to get there. So once again, this is the area of one more rep, one more sprint. Can you give me one more? Can you dig deep? Because right now, at 26 apiece, we're going to see who wants it worse.
71st Falcons team going to dig deep, pull on the wisdom gained from all those shutouts this season defensively. Weren't able to do that throughout the night tonight. Need to do it perhaps on one more drive here. Deciding to run with it is Stober, and he's going to be across midfield after he works through initial contact and takes it to the 46-yard line. A Hardy's first down inside Falcons territory.
And for the entire season, JP, this young man has only about 80 yards rushing, right? But here we see very clearly that he's very capable of rushing, and he gets them into plus territory.
No reason to save it now, right, Eric? Brady Stober taking off, being the field general you would expect him to be in this state championship environment, Evan. Try to check in with him again momentarily. This is going to be kept on the ground, and that is another dose of Isaiah Lackey, who's going to set up a short yardage type situation. A second down and about 3 coming. Two minutes remaining in the state championship contest, and this is caught far side and out of bounds at the 30. Another gutsy toss from Brady Stober, the leader you would expect in a moment like this. How about him, Evan?
Brady Stober has the words "prove them wrong." What a big drive from Stober tonight. His student support section was cheering his name, and Brady during the timeout brought his whole offense together and said, let's have one more drive. Put this on my back to win a state title, guys.
Thanks, Evan. First down, state championship is on the line with 1:53 to play. And keeping it on the ground. Left side, down around the 27-yard line. You know, what a night it's been for Lackey. Remember, he's got the 3 rushing touchdowns. That may surprise you. All 3 touchdowns in the contest tonight coming from him on the ground for all the great things that have been done by Stober, all the tremendous receivers that have been a part of things at one time or another. He's done the heavy lifting, literally. This is tossed one more time in the direction of Medley, and he's going to have enough to move the chains. There is a Hardy's first down inside the Talk It Out NC red zone. Just over a minute to go. Swing to the far side, and that is going to work its way out of the hands of his intended target over there, Ellis Chappell, who they tried to get involved this time. Well, if nothing else, the incompletion is going to let everybody take a deep breath with 1:11 to play.
That's exactly right, JP. But listen, man, you know, look at the poise in the pocket. He's taking his time. Ball should have been caught, but he didn't. You know, it's a big time and big moment here. But Hickory, if you're Hickory, you almost don't want to score too quickly because you don't leave any time on the clock for 71st. But 71st, you got to look at maybe strip, right? They catch the ball, they run and try and strip it to get us a turnover.
The defense of the Falcons, the Red Tornadoes offense, and tripped up at around the 15, falling forward down to the 13-yard line is Isaiah Lackey. 27 carries, over 100 yards alongside those 3 touchdowns we mentioned tonight. Inside a minute to play. Tie game in the 3A state championship. And on third down, Lackey turns his back and uses his momentum to get near the sticks. Let's see what the scenario will be with 46 seconds to play. This is a critical spot here because you're either talking 4th and inches or 1st and goal. And it appears as if the answer is 1st and goal.
It's 1st and goal, and I tell you something, right now, you know, all the control is in the hands of the Red Tornadoes with 46 seconds to play. You know, and I say you feed the big fella, right? That clock is going to continue to run. If you're 71st, you got to start looking at your timeouts, but the clock will continue to run. And the closer you get to zero, being in this position, the better it is for the Tornadoes.
Now they are going to bring the chains out. Take a look at this just to make sure. We saw the signal initially of first down from our officials, and they were correct. As you see the white hat letting it be known one more time that Joe Glass's team has picked up the first down, and now in many ways, in his mind, a guy always looking out the front windshield and not in the rearview mirror, out in front of him right now, 4 downs to a state championship perhaps, with inside a minute to play.
Yep. You want to run the ball, just squeeze the ball. Don't do anything silly.
Stober lunges for the end zone and carries it across for the leading touchdown with 36 ticks to play. They faked it this time to Lackey, and it was the keeper for Brady Stober, and the field general for Hickory puts the Red Tornadoes out front late.
Yep, he's been doing it all night with his arm. He's been looking downfield, keeping his eyes down there. And the one time that you lull the defense to sleep, he sneaks right in.
It is the junior QB, came in chasing 4,000 through the air, and interestingly enough, gets the job done on the ground. 4th rushing touchdown.
Got encroachment on the defense. Half the distance is goal. Still on time down.
They'll set the try up one more time after the penalty. 4th rushing touchdown of the night for Hickory. The Tornadoes have done their work on the ground, the latest of which Brady Stober's. And an important extra point with as quickly as both of these teams can score, Eric, to make sure the lead will be 7 for Hickory before 71st gets one final crack at it.
Yeah, that quick strike capabilities, both teams in 71st. You know they're thinking it right now, right? You know, Coach McLaurin is getting his plays in and getting it ready. You have 36 seconds to get it done.
Extra point is good. Brady Stober filling up your screen, lunging across the goal line with an 8-yard rush that sent shockwaves around North Carolina in the 3A ranks. Sold the fake and lunged for the touchdown.
Yep, that play action, that's what it does for you. They fake the power. He read that defensive end, he pulled it, and there you have it.
9 plays, 62 yards, the drive he engineered in 2 minutes, 1 second to give his team the advantage in the final minute of the state championship game.
Yep, so now it's up to 71st to see if they can manufacture that same drive, because time is definitely not on their side with 36 seconds to go.
Timeouts, though, you keep an eye on here and how they will be used across this final 36 seconds. They're the vitals on that latest drive, brought to you by Windsor Jewelers. Happily Ever After always begins at Windsor Jewelers. Hickory fans believing Happily Ever After just began with that scoring drive, but the Falcons will have their say as 71st has returned men back at the 10-yard line in what is now a 7-point game once more. Oh, what a North Carolina High School Athletic Association state championship game. And a joy to have you with us for it. Our broadcast brought to you by Tatum and Atkinson. Covered up by 71st and Christian Jackson, a junior defensive back, as DeAndre Nance leads them out one more time. A couple of junior QBs dueling it out in this one. And Nance, who has been banged up at times along the way, works his way out one more time, looking for another equalizing drive for the Falcons. What's at your disposal if you're 71st right now? What do you have to rely on?
Well, you know, one, his legs, but I mean, you know, time is against you. And so you're going to have to take some shots. You're going to have to take some chances downfield. And you'll probably see Hickory come out in a cover 4 shell, keeping everything in front of them, trying to keep them in bounds as well. But yeah, they're going to have to start taking some shots downfield.
Speaking of shots downfield, here is one in and out of the hands in the secondary, it would seem, of what was a potential game ender there, as the Hickory Red Tornadoes had designs on it, and here's a teachable moment late in the state championship environment as Coach McLaurin communicates his expectations for this final half minute to DeAndre Nance, who alongside his teammates having fought valiantly, representing their community on this night, looking for one more magical moment here at Kenan Stadium. Second down from the 36.
Yep, so if you're Hickory, you're keeping everything in front of you.
Well, kept that from being disaster, and this is about half the yardage needed for a first down, as it is caught on the far side by Jitavius Whitted. Another of those juniors. We talked about the relationship between those two. They try to rise tall one more time, and a third down coming. Remember, third downs were the catalyst for the last scoring drive this Falcons team put together, but they don't have the time to march this go round. Need a big play. 24 seconds left to go on 3rd and 5.
Yeah, you got to be thinking you got to get it in chunks.
First things first, you do move the chains, though, and they'll do just that with Donovan Frederick, who does get out of bounds near midfield. Frederick, who tonight has rushed it 16 times and now caught a couple of key passes as well. This one for a Hardy's first down.
Yeah, and you know, if you're Hickory, you like to have tackled him inbounds, right? But great job by the young man getting out of bounds and buying a little more time with 17 seconds to go. It's getting crunch time. You got to start taking some shots deep.
Coach Glass and his team up 7, gathering up to talk things over as Hickory has taken a timeout here. What's the conversation like for the Red Tornadoes here, Eric?
Well, I know if it's me, I'm saying, hey, nobody gets behind you. I don't care what happens in the backfield. I don't care if anybody falls or looks like reverse. Don't let anyone get behind you. Be the deepest man in your zone. Don't let anybody in a white shirt get behind you, and just keep it in front. And if you can, try and tackle them in bounds so that clock keeps running, but you don't want them to get behind you because you know they're going to have to take shots now.
Boy, they can sense it is right there for the taking. Hickory perhaps on the verge. And so one of the loudest student sections you're going to find anywhere, having made the trip to Kenan to support the Red Tornadoes on this night. Hickory trying to close it down defensively. Here's Nance looking deep, and a flag will fly as they became tangled at around the 25, and this is going to be a big penalty walked off with 11 seconds to play.
But I'll tell you something, that's not a bad penalty. This is why in high school it's just a 15-yarder. If you're in a pro,
15-yard penalty.
If you're in the pros, it's a spot foul, right? But this is only going to be 15 yards right now. So that's not because you'd rather give up 15 yards as opposed to 6 points, right? So that wasn't a bad play because he was about to beat him deep.
Great point. Does for the Falcons, though, put them in striking distance with DeAndre Nance's arm strength with 11 seconds to play. Ball is going to be snapped from inside the 35-yard line. And again, 11 seconds, timeout there if needed. So this is not all or nothing time, but it certainly is crunch time with, how about this, 11 seconds on the clock for 11 and company. DeAndre Nance as they get set to talk it over before snapping the football. All right, I asked you a moment ago, take us in the huddle when we were looking at the Red Tornadoes talk it over. Take us inside the Falcons huddle now.
Well, I think it's going to have to be, you're going to have to look at your personnel, right? And you're going to have to get one-on-one coverage somewhere. So chances are they're going to have trips to one side, probably to the wide side of the field, or they can even put into the boundary. You have to honor that to get one-on-one coverage, right, with maybe your best receiver and take a shot. I mean, now's the time to take a shot for the end zone. These next couple of throws, JP, have to be at that goal line.
Couple of catches for Whitted tonight. Couple for Frederick. Drummond had the touchdown catch. You remember Surgeon, when it was close proximity, had the touchdown catch. Couple of touchdown tosses for DeAndre Nance. His long connection tonight is 45. They are right now 34 away with 11 seconds to play. Dancing around back there. Still looking. Going to fire one for the end zone, and that is intercepted in the end zone to seal a Hickory championship.
Yep.
The Red Tornadoes come up with the defensive moment to secure the 3A crown as time expires. The championship headed to Hickory for the first time since 1996. They get the job done with a 33-26 victory in a battle of unbeatens against 71st.
Well fought, well played game. This was absolutely fantastic. Couldn't ask for a better matchup right now. Both teams come in evenly matched, and they're separated by one score. JP, absolutely wonderful coaches. Teams did an outstanding job.
With 11 seconds, one last chance to heave it to the end zone was determined to be the call for 11. And here's how it all came down on that final play of the 3A championship game.
Yeah, just trying to make something happen, knowing full well that he had to take a shot in the end zone, just throwing it up, hoping for one of his guys to maybe get a chance, but unfortunately that.
Will Prince, who on a couple of occasions early in the game had his name called defensively, he was playing center field back there to take care of things for the Hickory Red Tornadoes. It's Hickory taking the 3A crown. Let's take a look back at some of the superlatives from this one. We began with our Carolina Carport play of the game. Carolina Carport, quality our first priority. Well, this was the quality moment that became the championship moment for Hickory.
It was a go-ahead by the young man. He made a correct read on that and dives into the end zone. It probably looked like the Atlantic Ocean he was jumping into, JP.
Brady Stober, known for his passing ability throughout the year, having his number called when it mattered most, the rushing touchdown, our Carolina Carport play of the game. It was his 8-yard touchdown run that made the difference. Also, our Tatum and Atkinson player of the game going to be Isaiah Lackey, who had the 3 rushing touchdowns, including that third, which was one of legend, in which he carried everybody with him to the end zone.
This young man, I'm sure he broke up 5 or 6 tackles each and every time that he touched that football. Great job. Congratulations. Outstanding play.
Well, and you know what the tagline has been for Tatum and Atkinson throughout this championship weekend? The heavy hitters. He was just that on the offensive side of the football for sure. 3 rushing touchdowns, 111 yards on 28 carries for Isaiah Lackey. He and his teammates celebrating a state championship moment, and it's time for us to check in field side with the state championship winning head coach. Here's Joe Glass with him.
First of all, Coach, congratulations. 2:48 to play in the football game. What allowed your football team to march down the field and win this state championship?
That's what we do. That's what we do. That's what we did last week. It's what we've done before. That's what we do. Coach Natoli did a great job managing the clock. We gave up some big stuff, and it's what we do. I'm kind of at a loss for words right now, not gonna lie to you. It hadn't soaked in yet, so.
Defensively as well, the interception and the closing moments. How proud of you of Price to be able to lock up this game?
What's funny is I just lit him up all night long because he played bad all night. Made a lot of mistakes, and he came to me and said, Coach, I got you, I promise. And he got me. So, you can't say enough about that kid.
27 years later, the legacy of Coach Elder. How does that sit in your mind to be able to honor him and win this time?
Just for this team to be mentioned with that 96 team and Coach Elder is everything. That means more than you even know.
Congratulations, Coach, on the state title.
Appreciate it.
That's Coach Glass with a fantastic state championship, putting this away for his squad, the Hickory team. What a great performance. We'll wrap things up when we come back here in the 3A state championships. Hickory wins it at the wire over 71st.
I've got a math question for you. When you add tolerance, subtract prejudice, and multiply efforts to treat one another with respect, what do you get? Less division. And school sports have it down to a science. Looking for an example of what can happen when we realize there's more that unites us than divides us? Look no further than high school sports in North Carolina.
This message presented by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the North Carolina Athletic Directors Association.
WXLV captains of the state champions to join their head coach.
Don't pay those high credit card rates for your holiday gifts. Dazzle her with diamonds and pay no interest for up to 24 months on your purchase at Windsor Jewelers. Saturday, December 9th, shop interest-free on all in-stock loose diamonds and diamond jewelry. Only at Windsor Jewelers.
Well, from the 15-play, 74-yard opening drive to the bookend moment, the 8-yard rush from Brady Stober with 36 seconds to play. An impressive performance all the way around for the Red Tornadoes of Hickory. They build this season, and these are in the words of Coach Glass, as a Isaiah 6'8" founded send me moment. His team certainly answered the call in pursuit of a state championship. He said they had to do it a variety of ways. Talked about eating off the floor from time to time. Talked about rising to the occasion when it mattered most. And in a year that they dedicated to Coach Elder, he said, you know, he's been in my mind a lot more lately. Got communication from his family this week. The guy, last couple of years, had lived in the community with him. And they shared those moments where they would talk about football, talk about this program and this community. He said, it's been more on my mind the last few days, and what a fitting tribute to their storied head coach who provided the last title. And now there's a group for Hickory from 2023 that stands alongside with the latest chapter in Red Tornadoes football history. Just a tremendous night for Hickory all the way around.
Yeah, you talk about character, you talk about tradition, and something that, you know, is not mentioned a whole lot, but sportsmanship. I saw players from both teams helping up their opposition, you know, and you can't say enough about these head coaches and these programs and the administrators and the teachers and the moms that cook and dads that drive to and from. All of the things, it takes a community, a village to raise a team, two teams such as this. And congratulations to Hickory for bringing home a state championship.
Oh, what a job done by 3-4 in this one. Lackey, 28 carries, 111 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Got the hardware to prove it now as they turn this into a championship moment. You said it, Eric. This is a culmination of all the work that goes back not just a season, but a lifetime.
Oh, yeah. And these memories will last a lifetime, right? Just the smells, the sounds, the camaraderie, the bus ride, the pregame meal, all of these things, man. And I'm just so proud and happy for both of these programs. Of course, you want to win when you get here. But congratulations to Hickory and 71st for being here.
And congratulations to Brady Stober. You can see him receiving the award after a performance of 21 of 30, 238 yards. Interestingly enough, did not throw a touchdown, right? But did run for a touchdown with 36 seconds to play that sealed the state championship. And his work alongside the work of Isaiah Lackey, just impressive for this Hickory squad. You know, think about this, Eric. Before we go, we got to say 71st, a tremendous unbeaten season to this point. You know, they're a team that in the end outgained their opponent 425 to 404 tonight. You tip your cap to 71st for a great year. They represented Fayetteville so very well.
They certainly did, and I'm going to tell you something. You know, with the youth that they have on both of these teams, JP, I would not be surprised if we see them again here next year.
Yeah, would not be a surprise at all. This night belongs to Hickory. Congratulations to the Red Tornadoes, your champions in 3A. Well, we want to take a moment and thank all of our outstanding sponsors, and on behalf of our crew, we thank you, the fans. You are the reason these games are broadcast, these games are played, and what a joy to walk you through it tonight. Tatum and Atkinson, Honda dealers of the Carolinas, West Shore Home, NC 529, Hardee's, Talk It Out NC, Meg Brown Home Furnishings, Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue, Windsor Jewelers, Carolina Carport, North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, Ingalls Markets, all the folks at the North Carolina High School Athletic Association come together to make these broadcasts possible, and we certainly appreciate all of our outstanding partners. Well, a snapshot to last a lifetime for Coach Joe Glass and the Hickory Red Tornadoes. They are your champions in the year 2023, 33-26 the final, as the title goes back to Hickory, North Carolina.
Simple and slow. plan B, just a path I'm taking. Breaking on through on the road I'm making. Knew one day I'd get my shot. So here I am to give it all I got. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, cause this is the big time. This is the big time. Ever since my boots first hit